Wait, hold on.
No, we should be. Yeah,
Okay, so the
I'm just
numbers are starting.
saying. I don't really feel like Miracle Whip is like an actual replacement for like a good mayonnaise. I know it's
I
a
beg to
really
differ.
controversial hot take there, but I don't feel like they are synonymous condiments. Like I don't think you can just swap them
There's
one to one.
so many recipes on the internet, especially on TikTok, that would contradict your point.
Yeah, no, I mean,
And I'm
as
probably gonna
soon as
say,
you said like citation given, and your citation is there are so many recipes on TikTok, I
yeah.
feel that just contributed to my side of the
I
argument.
mean,
Oh,
let
oh, hello. Wait, we seem
we're
to be
online.
podcasting right
We're
now.
we're live and
Oops.
we're airing our dirty
Our
recipes from
dirty.
TikTok. I'm still waiting for
Oh,
the ramen
oh,
recipe
wow.
from like a
That
year and a
that
half
just
ago.
turned our that gave our show an immediate PG-13. Anything we do after that's rated R.
Well,
It's
look at
gonna
that,
get real bad.
dude. Look at that. Okay, Vince got his today as well. Like, what?
Steam Deck.
The chances of like partying Steam Deck style. Yeah. See, yours one doesn't look as pristine anymore. This is this is toys. This is going. This is shiny.
Ooh. This is like the coolest like surfboard of gadget geekery.
I'll say this. I did not. This is gonna sound so bad. Hopefully, Aditya is not in the chat. It's a lot.
That's what he said.
We'll start off by saying that. Yeah, that's what he said. Move it on. No, the dimension. So, full disclosure, Juan and I have been working together, and I've been trying to figure out when is a good time
There's
for me to try to get the Steam Deck from him to borrow. That never happened, right?
it
So
never
I finally
happened.
got my order,
Pry
and
it from my cold dead
from
hands.
cold dead
And
hands.
that
Those are the words he said uh, in that conversation.
with
Hey,
love,
with love,
you can
obviously.
pry it
Yeah.
from my cold dead hands.
Yes. So of course, I got my order, my email, my order, well, my email confirmation email basically a month early. It was supposed to come in October. It came in last week. I didn't even wait a second. Boom, 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 put it in, and then of
Mhm.
course now magically through the I'm going to say the roller coaster, the emotional roller coaster that is FedEx. I'm going to just say that at this point, because they went from saying it
Yeah.
was going to come on Tuesday to then saying it's coming on Thursday, then saying it's going to come on Wednesday, and then bringing it back to Thursday and still saying that it's early. So I'm like, okay, but it's here. It didn't get snagged, so I'm really happy
Safe
about
and
that.
sound.
Safe in two pieces. The box for the charger comes separate, I guess, but because they don't include that in the
Interesting.
no, it came in the same big box, but it was like,
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It
sorry,
doesn't.
sorry.
Yeah,
So
that's
you,
right.
you basically get
Correct.
this and then you get that. The
Yes.
charger's not in the
Accurate.
carrying case, is what I meant
Yeah.
to say, which is it's not that big of a thing because there's a pouch at the bottom and stuff like that.
So how far have I mean because I mean you sent me the photo. How far into the actual like setup have you
I was
gotten?
playing Mortal Kombat X for like an hour and a half. So yeah.
Okay, good. So
Yeah.
you're actually into using it. It's not just
Yeah,
like
and
I
I
have
was
logged into
I,
my Steam account and
I
that is
am
all.
I that's all I could. No. It was uh so my first thing was I wanted to see obviously is how many of the games I had on in my library that would
Hmm.
are compatible, right? There's the base
Yeah.
compatibility, there's the somewhat compatible. I think you showed it last when you got yours.
Hmm.
We looked at some of those. So let's just I was like, without further ado, everybody knows what it looks like. Adam, by the way, is in the chat. I see Barry Johnson with us. Ron Guido's in there. Hope you're doing well. I see Michael Corrigan in there. Um, everybody kicking it. So the case is just like pristine, like beautiful. There's a little
Yeah.
bit of there's a small little pouch, and I'm assuming that's the charger's bag, right? That's what we're gonna
Kinda.
put it in.
Yeah. I threw some earbuds in there.
Yeah, and then there's like a little like space for it here with a nice little
Yep.
cover, and then of course, nice little handle. So it's basically a travel bag, which is nice. I always love having it when I get the actual, because otherwise I will be spending extra money to pick that up. I'm gonna get the charger out of the way because that's the easiest way to do it. This otherwise we'll be here for a while. It's a USB-C charger, and of course I'm gonna be showing here. Let's see, can we do it? Yeah. So
45-watt power delivery.
absolutely. So which means for the most part, I don't really even need to bring it with me.
Nope.
Because I carry typically much
45-watt
like
power delivery chargers.
chargers
Right.
for almost everything I use. Yeah, but it does come in its own nice little box, and I'll put that one there. And let's go ahead and open up this baby. So I don't have any accessories yet. All I have right now is the gorgeousness that is the Steam Deck. Let's get it in. Whoa. Look, I'll even do a halo in there.
Ring
Yeah.
light. Ding.
and
And
you're
yeah,
7 days to go.
considering we're normally nerding out on phone tech, LaShawn was right to point out there's a charger in the box.
Uh,
But what about all of their packaging waste by including a charger in the box?
they
Shouldn't you have to buy that separately with
you
more
should
packaging waste and increased carbon pollution
footprint
from the extra shipping?
absolutely.
Isn't that how
And
we're supposed to save the environment?
last but not least, a custom
Oh.
chamois, because why not? You know what I mean? Because
Well,
you know
because
it's
and again,
the world product
I
us.
feel like Valve is missing out because if they sold that separately, they could sell those for like $40 a pop.
Isn't that what
And
Apple charges for their Magic Chamois? Or
it's like the
Mesh?
obvious joke I was going for.
I
It's
was like,
like,
I know. I was like,
yes,
I know.
accurate.
I follow you, my friend. I know. I subscribe to the same channels. And then, of course, they included this nice little big paper explaining to me where the micro
Yeah.
SD card is going to go, the menu system, the buttons, and then where to plug and charge.
So Barry is giving you a very tepid response. TK, we are happy for you. However, we are jealous.
Dude, I've been jealous. I have been jealous of JC for so long to try to get my hand on a portable
I
solution.
cannot say enough nice things. And so someone else like mentioned this. I can't. I don't know if I can find the comment. That you got it just in time for who was it? Someone else just announced like a cloud gaming
Oh, hold on, let me see. How far
portable.
back?
Just
Oh,
in time. So it was from Farhan. Just
Farhan.
in time when Logitech announced their G handheld cloud gaming console. So here's one of the reasons why I am stupid excited for the Steam Deck. It's not that the Steam Deck is a product unto itself and this is the only way to play games. It's that a major company, high visibility, has made a portable PC, and now I want other companies to iterate on this idea. So if it's mobile gaming, like that NVIDIA handheld that we
Yep.
saw, that was like a
Yeah.
collaboration with Qualcomm. If it's
That
Logitech, if
was it
it's
NVIDIA or was
oh no, I'm sorry, it was Razer. It was
Razer?
Razer's
Thank you. Yeah,
Razer's
Razer.
hardware with
Yeah.
the Qualcomm gaming chip. Whoops, NVIDIA makes their own chips. They wouldn't work with Qualcomm on that.
Hold on, did you just slip an embargo within? Sorry, keep
No,
going.
no,
Let's pick up
that
embargoes.
wasn't. We're not going to call that slipping an embargo. We're going to call that Juan jumbling up and talking a fool because he has too many
you're
letters and
reminiscing
company
of the
names in my
NVIDIA
head.
handheld, right? Back in the OG
No,
NVIDIA
but I mean,
handheld.
like Shield
Exactly, yeah,
tablet and NVIDIA
exactly.
Shield and game streaming and portability and picking up a Microsoft Surface Duo and using it with xCloud. I'm here for all of it.
Yeah.
And so if Valve in this space is bringing some more attention to the PC gaming side of this equation, and it allows me to even more easily take my Steam library on the road, that's one flavor of gaming. That is one console of gaming. And then there's the Nintendo Switch, and then there are all these other PC-based solutions that you can play with. Then there are going to be all of these ARM chipset mobile solutions, Android-based solutions. Sony is trying to get back into this in a big way with the Xperia clip-on cooling case for the Xperia 1 Mark IV. I'm here for all of it, and I think anything that promotes a better connection to your game library. I don't care what hardware platform it's on. I want all of it to be more visible, and I think that's going to be a much better competitive landscape for consumers. It's certainly going to be more exciting to talk about all of these entrants to this field, like Logitech making a cloud streaming solution, as compared to how sort of reductive the smartphone landscape is becoming. If it's going to be mobile gaming, then I guess I just need to turn my channel into a mobile gaming channel.
So with that being said, I've of course already set mine up. It's already up and running. My account is logged in. I had it on the charger. Of course, the two triggers on the back, the two top triggers on the right, touchpad. Obviously, the home button, or what they're calling the Steam button. Essentially, you just press that and it takes you, brings up the menu. There's the other button here on the right side that brings up all basically the battery notification, your account, I think it's if I'm not mistaken, so you visit basically a replay guide tour, settings for sound brightness, Wi-Fi, airplane mode. Interesting, airplane mode. Oh, it has Bluetooth. I did not know it has Bluetooth. Okay, good to know. Now we're
It has
I love
the
the fact that
Wi-Fi
it's touch
and the Bluetooth.
and the Bluetooth and ding. No, we're not gonna do the ting. There's Game Rumble, Steam haptics, airplane mode, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, night mode, which I can actually. Oh no, I don't want night mode. Night mode actually just
so
dims, takes out the blue light.
Vince is also chiming in. This is his first experience, his first exposure to Linux. So have
Yes.
you
Yeah. Yeah.
even
Yeah.
have you tried firing up the desktop mode yet?
No. No. I seriously.
Okay.
I.
Okay. Let me save it. Don't don't don't
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
feel like you need to try and show it off right
No.
now.
No. No.
We're
No.
we're 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 basking in the glow of
I
new
got
gaming
Chrome
gear.
installed. I got my SD card inserted. I downloaded Mortal Kombat. Hold on, let me just go back. I downloaded Mortal Kombat X. I downloaded Black Mesa, Undead Horde. Although Undead Horde doesn't really work. I mean, actually,
It
that's
doesn't
not
work.
true. It does. It does. It's just it says it's not compatible for some reason when you're in. Like when
Oh
you're
yeah yeah
installing
yeah.
them. Yeah. And of course, I did download Vampire Survivors based on your recommendation, and that was actually kind of nice because
Did you play your first round of Vampire Survivors?
I got my ass kicked in the first round because I didn't get a chance to get
Yeah,
the.
yeah, you did.
So I played it first on the Steam Deck, and then because I was running my PC and I had Steam running in the PC, I
Hmm.
connected over the Wi-Fi on my PC to the Steam Deck, and I played a couple of rounds on my computer
Yup.
from the Steam Deck because I was like, you could just do that
Just because you
Uh,
can.
just because you can. And I was like, yeah, if we're gonna geek out on a game that's not gonna be super heavy on data, let's just do that. So that yeah, so I played that,
Yeah.
downloaded Rocket League, and then I need to find more more games that are compatible. Like Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is compatible, but I did not
Hmm.
download that yet. It
Well,
says
part of the fun though is like when you're especially going through some of your older catalog,
yeah,
there
yeah.
are so many games that don't list compatibility.
Hmm.
They say that Valve will say are not compatible, and then there are going to be a whole bunch of games where they just don't know, and so Valve will
This
say we don't know if there's compatibility. That's actually
so
one of the most fun things is
mhm,
kind of going through all of
figuring
those
out
old
what
games just to
is
see like, is
well.
this playing well?
It lets me in. It tells me that I can install PUBG, but it
Hmm.
says that due to the anti-cheat, some of the anti-cheat software,
Yeah.
it's not 100%. So I have yet to test PUBG to see how that works. Although I'm imagining the format runs really nice. Mortal Kombat runs actually surprisingly well. It just takes a little bit extra
Hmm.
to load because of the
Yeah.
sources in the libraries, which is not bad. Um, but seriously, like once I got it in, I was able to play. The graphics were very nice. The response was really good. The audio was very actually substantially louder than I thought it was going to be. Like in my mind, I'm coming from a Switch, so I'm
Yeah.
imagining Switch experience and saying, "Oh, this is going to be
Hmm.
a Switch Premium." Not even close.
It's
This
it's a
is
really
serious.
different feel.
Yeah, but
It
it's
really is.
solid. It's solid.
Yeah.
It's not like janky. It looks like I made it in a small lab somewhere. Uh, but yeah, and it again easy access to the store. I installed Chrome. I didn't install any kind of cloud gaming yet because I do need
Hmm.
to get the browser to be able to run Call of Duty because that's going to be my
Yes.
focus for tomorrow. I want to get Call of Duty. I want to start playing that. If I can get that to run, dude, this is going to be so good. And
But
I want to say
I'm also giving you homework where you need to be able to last a full 30 minutes of Vampire Survivors by our podcast next week.
I could do. I think I could do. I got
I
a
think
lot
you
better.
can.
I played for
It
about
only took
25
me a
minutes
couple
and
days to beat my first map. So
okay.
I have every faith in you. But
It's
I'm putting the deadline on it
it's
that you
all
need
about
to.
timing and foresight
It's
and
all
then
on the
choosing
wrist.
and it is absolutely and it I didn't play it before, so I was very much you just jump straight in. It's easy to get into it. It's just
Yeah.
understanding the mechanics and how to escape all the vampires and all the and just
So,
basically
so Malik is
power ups.
saying with the Steam Deck, and we were mentioning some of these other entrants, the Aya Neo Air. That's the one
Uh-huh.
I can never remember. With that one coming out, have we reached a renaissance of portable PC gaming? I mean, what's exciting is this feels not like a renaissance. This feels
Mhm.
like something new. PC gaming has always been mobile PC gaming has long been the champion of gaming laptops.
Mhm.
And this is the first time I've really felt we've landed a good console equivalent.
Yeah.
That hardware line in the sand, I mean, it's getting blurrier. Obviously, home consoles are basically just little mini PCs, so
Uh,
obviously we're seeing a lot of that overlap. But most of the time, you really wanted to take good gaming on the go. We were talking about gaming laptops, and this feels so much more fresh, and it is helping to highlight those really tiny boutique companies that have been doing this for a while, but
yeah,
have
yeah.
never managed to generate the same kind of mind share.
No, and but it also has the functional option of it, the fact that it doesn't need that much space, right? It's
No.
because gaming laptops, by definition, are great for mobile, but that you can't really play a gaming laptop in the middle of an airport. I mean, you may be able to if you're definitely
I,
that focused
I
on it,
mean,
but
You remember
On
we
a
used to take flights and you could fit a laptop on an airline seat tray table, and now
yeah,
like forget about it.
no,
I had the I had the
you
because you just
perfect.
finished your video
Yeah, yeah.
on the
So
U
I saw your
Perfect.
video when you did it last week. Yeah, yeah.
Right. So I would
Or was
pull
it
the
the
U
week
Perfect
before?
out, but I have it packed up because I'm going to be sending it to Barry, and I completely spaced sending it to him the beginning of the week. So Barry, I'll get this in the mail, even though I told you about it like a week ago. My apologies. But I had the U Perfect on an airline tray table, and
Yeah,
this is an 11-inch mini portable. It's like one of the
it is
smallest little
tiny.
clamshell netbook form
Hmm.
factors that I've ever seen, and it's maxing out the space on that little airline tray table. So having like a 15-inch gaming laptop on an airplane, just that's not a thing
No, no.
anymore. We just can't do it.
There's it's almost. I mean, the Surface Laptop Go 2 was also kind of like a stretching the limits. It's about the same size. It has the same roughly the U Perfect. So if you're really kind of thinking about it,
Yeah.
you're talking very limited space, but it's still leveraging what you have. And what I really like about the U Perfect is it is truly leveraging everything on your phone. There's no data
Hmm.
plans to share. There's no your one wire transfers everything, your connectivity, your apps, everything. And then what I loved about it, at least on my side, because I was actually wanting to see how many things we can connect. I had an SD card inserted, and then I ran a 1 terabyte and well, basically an external drive,
Yep.
just to kind of get the leverage. And my File Explorer recognized everything. The sound was playing.
Everything. Oh, it's so
Everything ran
good.
perfectly, and I
Yeah.
love to your point in your video, because when you were mentioning originally about the original UPerfect X, which you didn't have
Hmm.
as many ports, I feel like I would probably go for, even though with the barrel charger on this one, I probably would
You're going
prefer
for the
having,
Mini X.
yeah, because I like the ability of having more options, more ports.
Yeah.
The USB-A is not as fast, but it's still,
I was really torn on that U Perfect for
yeah,
precisely that. Myself personally, I feel I would lean towards the U Perfect X
yeah.
and go with the USB-C charger. And I know there are a lot of people who are going to look at a proprietary barrel charger and probably side with me. And I really couldn't get a good feel on how many people do I think this might be a deal breaker for. And I'm genuinely don't know. So for some people, like you're saying, if you want the better I/O, you want the better battery life, the Mini makes more sense. But then
Absolutely,
you
yeah.
just have to find yourself a USB to barrel connector and charge it that
Or
way, so you don't have to pack a whole separate brick.
for my usage when I was using it for the last week or so, I didn't really get a chance to deplete the battery entirely. But again, depends on your sessions, how long you're using it, and how much battery you have left on your phone, because it's the battery depletes at a faster rate. Obviously, if your phone needs a lot of data, a lot of
Hmm.
electricity, or a lot of juice. But what I got out of it was more about the functionality of having the one cable connection. I'm kind of like what we got originally with the next stock. It's
Sure.
smaller though for me, and it had that flexibility. We can go to the 360.
Well, no,
You
no,
could do
no, no.
whatever you
See,
want.
see, Gregory said Type C is the
See,
way. So I mean, that's
it,
and Darren kind of backed him up. He said this is the way. So
no, I totally get it. I
it's
totally get
kind
it,
of
and
the
I would have preferred them.
Michael
I can.
Corcoran. The biggest frustration is that barrel charger. I just feel like you're you're probably not.
I'm
You
not gonna
know,
make it in this show. Okay, I get it. I get it, guys.
but no,
it's a
it's
tall order.
so
I get it. It's a
we
tough one.
definitely appreciate the folks over at UPerfect, and they've been continuing to iterate on these laptop and portable monitor
Yeah, and
designs.
this is
That's
my
very
first time,
exciting
by the
stuff.
way, experiencing you perfect. I've had many next talks over the
Next
years.
stocks and the next
Yeah, yeah,
pad and all that.
yeah,
So I would
absolutely,
highly recommend that y'all go check out TK's video. But
absolutely.
that's
Thank you.
sidetracking us because one of the most exciting things that I think you would want to do with your UPerfect would be plug your Steam Deck into it.
Dude,
So while
I need.
that UPerfect is worthy of a conversation, it's a conversation that's just going to take us back to new Steam Deck Day.
Yeah, exactly.
Full
And
circle.
first
It's
of
like
all,
a
that
circle. It's like it
we're not
rhymes.
the biggest game changer in history, the dynamic island. No,
No, no, no, no, no, no. Stop, stop, stop,
let's
stop
not
doing
focus.
that where you
Yeah,
sidetrack
yeah.
track yourself in the comments. We're not
Sorry.
talking about a dynamic island. We're talking about a dynamic portable gaming experience.
Absolutely. And then, so for
The
me, the biggest thing,
dynamism
the
is in
dynamism.
having all of the paddles and touchpads and buttons and controllers and touchscreen for your entire PC gaming library. So
Ooh, I can
that's
actually participate in the betas. Okay, I did not know. Have you been using the betas
see,
on yours?
this is
Sorry,
what I'm
I'm
talking
like
about.
looking through the. I got one
Okay,
update when I started.
so So
System work.
I
How
had it
did
on the beta channel until the stable channel got better support for screen refresh and frame rate. So
okay.
when I first got it, you couldn't divide in the stable channel. You couldn't divide the actual refresh rate of the display from the frame rate of the game. And
Okay.
now you can kind of control those independently of each other. So you can kind of settle in. A lot of Steam Deckers will look at like 40 frames per second for
Hmm.
more graphics intense games. So they can still turn up some of the eye candy, they can balance some of the gameplay, and then have a more stable frame rate that's not dipping or spiking. And they seem to like 40. For most of what I like to play, I would much rather keep the 60 hertz, the
Hmm.
60 frames per second, and then just minimize some of the graphics settings. Like to me, that looks nicer. So again, everyone's mileage is going to vary, but if you're on the stable channel, you have those controls now already. You don't have to go to the beta channel for that.
Okay. Yeah. I'm no. I'm sorry. I'm in the keyboard customization section under controller.
Hmm.
So under the display, I
Did
don't
you
see
get
a
your fancy premium tier Steam Deck
keyboard
keyboard
skin.
skin?
So which one is it? Is it the Steam
So
Green or the Dex 85?
So you can show off that you are not one of those filthy base model consumers. We need something that's going to show. I mean, because
Okay,
it's like a
let's go into the
fancy
store.
smartphone. You need people to know that you spent more on it.
I because I want the betters. Uh, Let me see here. Okay, under library, I need to get a search box in here to be able to kind of type it in because it's not
Michael, sorry, Michael Peppertech. I normally listen to static noise to fall asleep, but I can put on Juan and experience dynamic noise instead.
because that's how you
Doing
do
me
it, man.
dirty.
Okay, let's go ahead
Doing
and
me
open up.
dirty. I
Open
love
up
it.
here. I'm gonna say okay. I'm going to launch Chrome so I can get the keyboard to come up. Make Chrome your default. Yeah, we'll keep it automatically send. I don't want to send user statistics. Stop asking me for these things. Here. Come on, open up. Why is the keyboard not opening up?
Hmm.
Come on. Okay, so here we're gonna is okay. I guess Chrome doesn't automatically get
Yeah,
me opens up.
Barry's backing me up on this one, man. You gotta flex with your Steam Deck. You gotta like show that off. You need
Okay.
that like peacock. You need that plumage. You need to be able to say, "Hey, man, I got a Steam Deck. Not only do I have a Steam Deck, I got one of the good Steam Decks.
Okay, so I
It's
got
got to
here.
talk
I'm at
like
the
this."
store, and I cannot find an option where to be able to turn on the keyboard. Like seriously.
Lashawn's asking if you play Counter Strike. Do you play Counter
No,
Strike,
I
and will
never.
you play it on the Steam Deck?
I will definitely check it out. I did not. I am not a. I am not a Counter Strike player. PUBG, Call of Duty is primarily the main two on my desktop right now that are running. And there's many versions of Call of Duty that I'm playing, and right now I've just primarily been sitting in Modern
Hmm.
Warfare. But um, okay, see, okay, here it is. Search, dude. Okay, so here,
You got it?
finally got the keyboard to show.
Aw, that's adorable.
There's one
I like it.
keyboard. That's one of the options that they get there. Let's go into settings again, and I'll change the other keyboard because I did download them, but I never got a chance to go into play. Like I seriously haven't played with any of the options. So here, Steam Green. Let's go back into general. We'll go back here, go back into home, and search. Yeah, I don't know about Steam Green. I guess I'll go back to the other one. That other one looks
No,
funkier. Steam Green
I don't like Steam
is just
Green.
too
It's too flat.
it's too basic, right? We're not going to be basic at this point. No, it's fine. It's not my cup of tea. Hold on, let's change that here. So I have
And
candy coated.
Gregory's asking, have you rooted it yet? Because Greg is all about like putting on custom ROM. So what custom ROM are you already running on your Steam Deck
I am running
now?
the custom stable ROM made specifically
Made by Valve for
by
Steam
Valve.
OS.
So I've had. So I'll say this: it got delivered at around what like 1:30? No, 2:30. But
Hmm.
unfortunately, been like back to back doing things, taking care, with Omar going to pick up, drop off and stuff. So
Hmm.
I've had seriously about maybe 2 hours worth, like 20, 30 minutes with getting the account logged in, getting the code, and then starting to download what's already in my library. And then making sure to download and install like, Undead Horde and Mortal Kombat took a little bit longer. It's a very
Yeah,
graphic intensive one.
it's beefy.
Yeah. So, but then once I got them in there, I literally wanted to clock in as much gaming as I could.
Hmm.
The gaming experience, I will say, is surprisingly well. The loading, I was a little bit worried like it may not work because it said it was compatible, especially with Mortal Kombat X. Um,
Yeah.
But no, seriously, I mean, at 60 frames, it runs really nice. I don't think that's also one of those games you really need a high refresh rate because there's a lot of static parts of the actual game experience.
Yeah, I mean the thing I found like Street Fighter
Or the
5, I haven't been a huge fan of, but Street Fighter 4 is in that kind of medium compatibility zone where Valve doesn't really think the game plays that well.
Mhm.
I I find I am not great at fighting games, but I am really bad at fighting games when a frame rate starts dipping like lower. So it was
Oh yeah,
actually
it's loading right now. I'm just gonna let it load up.
Street Fighter 4 was one of those games where I was playing around like, well, maybe I can save some battery life, maybe I can run this at 40 hertz.
Yeah, yeah.
And that really did feel wrong. And at least kind of keeping it up at 60 helped a lot. What's going to be funny is like when you're used to playing some of these games like Dandara,
Mhm.
Dead Cells, Undead Horde, I've
That
been
sells
playing them on
runs pretty well, by the way.
phones.
Yeah, that sells
No, no, no.
really.
But I've been playing them on phones for so long. I'm
Yeah.
used to, Undead Horde now on my Red Magic. And Undead Horde on my Red Magic runs at like 120
120.
degrees. I'm sorry, it runs at 120 hertz.
So, no, it's the
So,
same thing, isn't it?
so I can't.
It's 1 degree
I
per hertz.
don't like. I don't. Yeah, it's 1 degree per hertz
Hurt.
on your phone screen
That's how
refresh.
you hurt. Yeah.
I don't like playing Dead Cells on my Steam Deck because I'm used to it being more fluid than my Steam Deck can represent that game. So it's funny, like, again, earlier I said anything that's going to sort of boost this idea of mobile gaming, better hardware, better games, better dev, better experiences for consumers, I'm all for it because the Steam Deck is not the end of this conversation. There are games that I genuinely like to play on other platforms better, but there's so much of my Steam catalog I haven't touched in years, and now I'm picking it up on the Steam Deck because it's a better way to play.
Oh no, no, absolutely, absolutely. But I'm showing you guys kind of like the loading time. I just selected the characters. I'm playing obviously Scorpion versus Sub-Zero, classic fight. And then this is just roughly what it is. You just have to wait for it to finish. That loading part is where it takes a little bit. But then once it has all the resources and the library is kind of set
Mm-hmm.
correctly, if you fail at the match and you'll say you want to play again, you could just reload it right away. It does not have to
Yeah.
reload everything, and I'll give it a second to finish up. But
TK, look at what Andrew just posted.
I think they just had like the massive collection of
We
Steam
got
Decks sitting around.
we got a
Like
surge of Steam
you
Decks
guys
out.
surge.
All right.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
would
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. Sorry, how
to
you're-
invite everybody with a Steam Deck to some Shredder's Revenge
Hold
co-op
on. Yeah,
play.
yeah, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, you keep talking, man. Just have fun. Don't worry about it.
So
I'm there.
when
I'm with you.
Andrew, you get your Steam Deck. Who else was it? Was it Vince that also had his Steam Deck? I think we need to set up like we need to set up like a Twitch stream,
Oh, come on,
and
come
we'll
on.
all co-op and
Getting
play
my-
together on some Shredder's
Ooh,
Revenge.
no.
No, hit the guy. No. That's not how you're supposed to. No, you. Well, I mean, that's kind of your problem. Is you're not supposed to get hit by the other guy. You're supposed
I know.
to. There you go.
Well, it's hard. It's hard to focus on the game. Ooh. Oh.
So
okay, Scorpion
LaShawn won't be able to join us on Shredder's Revenge because he has a Tiger handheld. That's what he's gaming on right now. So. Yes, Vince. We got to do like a Steam Deck just hangout and be the nerdy kids with our
Are you kidding
surfboards
me? I
of
got my
gaming
butt kicked on
goodness.
this one. Okay.
Get over here. I like that you're actually like breaking out an actual game to play. Yeah, like I did an entire podcast playing Vampire Survivors, so I feel like this is probably more dynamic.
Oh, yeah, and I'm also getting like literally. I need to get better at the controls.
So
I wanted to show the
Barry
fluidity. That's all
Johnson. Barry Johnson is asking how much is the version that we should buy. My recommendation for most folks is actually to go with the medium, the 256. If you're comfortable doing a little tinkering, you can get a 1 terabyte SSD. You can throw in a memory card. I think the sweet spot is 256. I purposely went 512 for the special etched glass, but then I went and put a screen protector on it anyway, so I don't think that's been any huge benefit. The 512 is nice, and I really am
I'm gonna get my butt
happy
kicked on
to
this
use
one.
the Steam Deck stock for a while. It's going to be a while before I feel I need to go 1 terabyte. But given how
Oh,
modular this design
I
is,
got my butt kicked.
it's
Okay.
it's it's almost
Oh, no
like,
fatality. No faith.
oh no, you're gonna get you.
No,
Is
no,
he
no.
roasting it? No, he's not.
No, no,
Okay.
no. He just did a standard finished. I didn't. I played it at medium. I need to play. I need to practice more. I haven't played against Scorpion. I've
You're
been
on the
playing it.
spot. You're not used to playing with an audience like that. You gotta up
No,
your
no.
Twitch. Your
I got it. Yeah, my Twitch stream.
It
Um,
messes you up when you think people are watching you play. You're like, oh no, I'm under pressure.
it is. It is absolutely okay. We'll play one more round and see if I can improve my score. At least kick his butt.
Sam, fresh AA batteries should last you about 35 minutes. But yeah, I feel like right now Steam Deck is a pretty safe buy. 256 gig version isn't going to be prohibitively expensive. I think the gaming experience is tremendously better than what you could get on, a sort of an older gaming laptop for the same
Hmm.
price. So yeah, I kind of think that mid tier, that middle spot is the sweet spot. I would definitely avoid the 64 gig
Oh
because
no,
that
no,
has
that
that
that one I think.
eMMC.
Yeah, it's
It's
one
gonna
of
be
those.
slower.
Okay, come on, come on, come on,
Do it, do it, do it.
come on.
Oh, I
Ah,
love
come
this.
on.
This is the
Scorpion
best audio
wins.
podcasting I think we've ever done.
It just
Um,
that last bit is where you get like really stressed, like and of course Scorpion just brings you all the way in.
mhm. So Michael Plepper Tech is asking, I wonder how the Neo will be with that new next gen AMD APU. This is what I think is going to be interesting, is seeing how these little mobile chipsets, these little APUs, handle power draw, how they handle thermals. It is a mini PC. It's a little teeny computer. And even if it's more powerful, because there is one that's running an Intel chipset, and on paper, it looks significantly more powerful
Okay. Oh, now, no, no. We get to.
than.
Yeah,
Oh
right there.
no! Look at that.
And viewer discretion advised.
That's what your brain looks like.
that's that's exactly
I
how my
like
brain
I like
looks like.
how the tongue always seems to get missed in that slashing.
Because yeah.
But I'll be curious to see, because cramming a more powerful piece of hardware in here, this is another one of those parts. We've been talking about this on phones. I think this is the exciting next step for consumer electronics, is not outright performance, but better performance per watt.
Yeah.
And so if
No,
the
no.
next gen APU is actually similar in terms of like outright horsepower, but it delivers that at a
Of
battery
course, you get
savings,
this now.
yeah, rise.
Rise. Necromance.
Rise.
That's the game
So
starts with necromance.
that's what I would want to see, is like maybe a next gen APU that's actually undervolted or underclocked, as opposed
Oh no,
to
absolutely.
a Steam Deck 2 or an Aya Neo that is significantly more powerful, and it can, max out 60 frames per second in AAA games at higher resolution. I'd
It looks like
actually be
it
kind
blows
of
all the
okay.
air. Yeah, it looks like all the air blows away to the top. So
Oh
it's
yeah, no, it vents up.
yeah, it vents up. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
do have to be careful, like when you set it down.
Mhm.
Because I'll play in bed, and you put it down, and then your sheets or your comforter kind of
Mhm.
block the intake fans, so there's no clearance if you put it down on on not a flat surface. That I
Yeah.
made that sound weird.
It just sounded.
LaShawn is asking, can you edit videos on the Steam Deck? If you go into the desktop mode, it's basically just a Linux build. It is, and when you hook up another display, it actually does dual display like a Windows laptop. So you have your main home screen on the deck, and then it sends out a second video
move.
screen to your external monitor. So as long as you can find a Linux video editing suite, then you can edit directly. I have not tried. I really should.
I would imagine.
I think I could probably get Resolve running on it, but then you can also install Windows. So if you wanted to edit in anything like Adobe, you could install that. I don't think it would run great,
Mhm.
but it is something that it is capable of basically just being a full-fledged computer.
Full-fledged piece. Yeah, no, and that's going to be the next stuff I want to start playing around with is desktop mode, running different things and running apps. But my main thing is honestly, I want to get as many many gaming system or platforms compatible in here, especially with
Oh
Battle.net, and then getting obviously the actually Fortnite should be able to be installed as well since we're able to run the what's it called, the
I don't. I
Epic
I
Store now.
think because you can run Epic Game, but I think there are also anti-cheat issues. I don't
Oh,
know
so
if
that was
Fortnite
okay. So
works.
that's the same as PUBG. I think that was the
Yeah,
biggest thing.
same.
It's because they run separate services in the background to make
But
sure
have
people
you
aren't
been
cheating.
keeping up with your free games of the week on the Epic Game Store?
No, I honestly I did not log in.
TK. Hold on, I need to
No, hold on.
see
What is the latest game?
Epic Game Launcher. I don't even think I've logged into my Epic Game Launcher for a while.
I don't have it on my
I
laptop.
paid
Okay.
for Tetris.
Mm-hmm. Tetris or Tetris Effect?
Tetris Effect. That
Yeah,
was the only. It was so when it first came to PC, you could
yeah.
only get it on the Epic Game
Yeah,
Store.
for
Oh,
sure.
it needs to run an update. So okay, I'll see.
Okay.
So I paid for Tetris Effect, and then also there was an amazing sale on Control, the full
Oh, the full
complete
game.
collection of
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Control.
I have that
And
one in
then
there as well.
what sucked is I bought it on Epic, and then I want to say it was only like 2 months later. It was one of the free games in the week. But I didn't feel bad giving those developers some money,
Some
even
money
though it
on
was
it.
on a crazy sale. I think every other game I have on Epic has been through the free games of the week. Peter Tieglin is writing: Is the port itself eMMC or just the drive? It is just the drive. It is a
And you're able.
fully standardized
Hmm.
mini M.2. I forget what the proper designation is, but it's the half size M.2 drive. So you can put in any other drive you want. It's not tremendously difficult getting
Yeah,
a
I'm trying
one
to get the.
terabyte
I'm
drive
trying to get used to the
in a Steam
gameplay.
Deck.
Okay, so BB here. Okay, let's attack.
And then Greg is asking, does the Steam Deck have HDMI out? So the USB-C on the top of the Steam Deck that you use to charge it does have sort of full video compliance for USB-C. So you can get an HDMI adapter. You can plug it directly into a monitor that supports USB-C. My graphics monitor and my ultra-wide both support natively directly. The Steam Deck recognizes the aspect ratio and the resolution of both. And then also my portable monitors. So the battery-powered monitors, you plug the Steam Deck into like a Nextdock or a UPerfect, and it will show up on the display, but the battery will only trickle charge the Steam Deck. It won't fast charge the
So
Steam
an
Deck.
example would be what I'm doing right now. I'm connected over USB-C directly into the live stream. So I'm like broadcasting straight from the Steam Deck.
Yep.
Because there you go. Okay, so now we're gonna go
It's
A.
pretty sweet.
Oh wait, no, I gotta talk to the guy first, right?
Yeah.
Hey, come on. And
Wait a minute. Did you already
oh,
did
I
you
didn't
already
kill
send
the.
the chicken?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
guess I
gotta
did.
go. You gotta go smash the pots.
Yeah. Here you go. One more. Okay, now we can come back because you got to. You got to do the chickens, the mittens, and the knitting. Okay, we'll go, and the door is open, and then now we're gonna necromance. Yeah. Okay, we got. Come on. Okay, I got it.
Guys.
Rise. I don't. Can you hear the audio on your side or no? No audio, right?
No, I don't think I've got audio coming in,
Oh, okay. So
but
it
that's
doesn't pick
okay.
up the audio. Okay, so only the thing. Okay, that's not that bad. Come in. Let's see. Come. Follow me. Come on. Attack.
So let me see. I
Oh,
just
look
want
at
to
that.
see
Okay,
how
yeah.
many
Sorry,
games
sorry.
I've picked up on Epic and I haven't spent a dime.
I like this. Like, how many games did I pick up on Epic and I didn't spend a single penny? Okay, let's get into. Okay, here he is. So let's fight. Fight the first one. Okay, come on. This should be a pretty easy one. Okay, and then so we basically expand, and you just see. This is my jam. This is my jam when I have like a few people watching me doing what I'm doing. I can actually talk to people. Okay, I know how to do this. Okay, so we're gonna go. We can take us not to the castle.
All right, so I got to do a bigger grid size. So if I do 48 per
I don't know. So for
page
everybody
and
watching this,
6 pages,
this
that's
one at 50K. What's the Steam
240.
Deck? I would give it not even
So
24 hours at
I'm
this
at
point.
roughly 280 games in my Epic library, and I paid for 2 of them.
Ah, man, you spent too much money, man. That's I see how it is. You should have.
really happy with the two that I gave money to as the developers I like. But you
I'll bring
gotta
it
keep
back to.
up, TK. You're missing out
No,
on all
I
kinds
have
of
okay. So
stuff.
I have a lot of games on the Epic Store. I just didn't get to that level yet. That's what my thing is.
Alien
And
Isolation,
I
Among
can
Us, the entire Amnesia series. Do you remember Amnesia?
I
Yeah,
remember it.
yeah,
Oh
it's
my
good
God, look at
times.
this. Okay, hold on.
Assassin's Creed Syndicate. I have 2 copies of Ape Out, one on each platform.
So I want to get God of
Um,
War also because I think God of War just came out on this as well on Steam.
God of War came out, and also Spider-Man plays pretty well too.
Yes, the remastered one.
You need to kind of tweak a little, but it plays well, and it is phenomenal taking Spider-Man out on the road. It's really good times.
Okay, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, even
I'm gonna
LaShawn's
take a
like
break. I'm gonna take a
you
break.
are
I'm gonna take a
missing
break.
out, TK. You are missing out on
Out.
all the games.
I no no I
Free
dude.
games, TK.
I used to be very religious about it, and I wait every week for the free games, and I would download every single one. And then
Hmm.
for the longest time, for some reason, I was logged into the Epic Store, and it would tell me like it notifies me of the new games, but then it logged me out because I stopped playing. Any like, I stopped playing Control and stuff. I still have Control
Hmm.
installed, but I just need to keep making sure that it doesn't log me out because it keeps consistently of like every 2 weeks or so. It just logs me out if I'm not logged in or actively using it. So they're purposely making sure people don't just sit there and get the free games unless they purposely go back into the actual store every week and check on it. But no, absolutely, the floodgates have been opened. So say that. Um,
Yeah.
all of the things I want to do right now are just basically focused on it. Just like you kind of mentioned at the beginning, the Razer in
Hmm.
Qualcomm's approach, we still
Oh
haven't
yeah.
seen an actual production version of that. Right. The original purpose of that, the hardware that we saw at Qualcomm at the Tech Summit last year, was primarily as a demo of, look, this would could be what it would be, but it's probably more than likely going to be a dev kit for more developers to be able to start building, games and so on, so that the hardware can make sense for when it comes out. But we still haven't seen any hardware come out. Steam Deck is still, for the most part, I feel like the most solid performer. And again, it came out first. It has a
So because of the Steam Deck, it has caused me to go and look at what some of these other boutique options have
yeah.
been. There have been players. I don't want to sit here and praise Valve thinking that they were first, because they weren't. We've seen portable PC gaming hardware solutions in a number of different form factors, in a
Yeah.
number of different, like, mini PCs to small gaming laptops to clamshells with controller hardware attached to them. We've
Hmm.
seen a number of solutions before. What I want to credit Valve with is using the size and visibility of the world's largest online game distribution platform
Hmm.
to promote the idea of moving your games into a more portable form factor. So
Absolutely.
it's really them using their visibility and their leverage to better popularize this idea, not that they got there first. And not that they're even the most powerful or the best.
No,
I just
definitely.
really like what they've brought to the table. It's very consumer accessible. It's arriving at a price point that is extremely compelling, where a number of these boutique options won't be able to compete at that kind of scale. So the products are going to be more expensive.
Well, not only that, the library accessibility to the library of games that they're gonna have a much higher, like you said, it's a tougher mountain to climb at that point because
Yeah.
they don't have the Steam library built in out of the get go, right? I don't have to do much other than log into my Steam
Mm.
account, and I've already have access
Hmm.
to everything, and it's
Yeah.
categorized and it tells me if it's compatible. And again, you have the desktop mode, you have Chrome, you can open up a browser, you can run different things into it. So it I like the functionality that they also included Steam Link as part of their system in here. So this is a
Yup.
virtual, like a small
It's
mini Steam Link that so you still get the
Isn't it
benefit of.
crazy? You start playing a game on your Steam Deck and you'll see on your PC, oh, by the way,
You can
you're
connect.
actively playing, you're connected. Like, you can go in both directions. Like, if I wanted to, I could run the game from my Steam Deck and play it on my
Uh,
PC.
No,
But I
even the other,
could,
or even the
and
opposite
then you could
direction.
go the other way around. Yeah,
Run it and
for
use your
sure.
GPU, your full horsepower over there, and
But I
just
just
run
thought
it
it was
in the
hilarious.
room.
I saw it in one direction. I'm like, yeah, I could play the game. Wait a minute, it's telling me I can play the game from my Steam
Steam
Deck
Deck.
on my
You
PC.
see, it wasn't. Yeah, I was like, wait, so
Cool,
this thing can
I
do that?
guess.
It's
Um,
I tried it because it was available. I probably would be doing it mostly the other way around. Like run
yes.
like I would probably run
The obvious solution is to use the
the
more
faster
powerful
loading,
hardware.
yeah, obviously. So if I want when I play
Yeah.
Doom, that's how I'm gonna run it. Gonna run Doom
Sure.
straight from my PC. And again, it depends on the connection. But for me, luckily, my Wi-Fi router, not my wife, my Wi-Fi router is sitting right behind my laptop where you guys are sitting, kind of like in that frame here, and my
Mm-hmm.
PC is behind me, so I don't have any latency. Connection speed is going to be
Yep.
really the fastest possible.
But JGJ, Valve using Linux as its platform instead of shoehorning in Windows, I believe one of the other Intel-based solutions is
Yeah.
basically a Windows PC, and I
Mhm.
bet you that's one of the reasons why a lower powered AMD APU is able to hang in a lot of gaming
Okay.
showdowns.
Yeah. Because
SteamOS seems to be a little lighter on that initial overhead. I've been enjoying SteamOS so much.
Mhm.
Now that we've heard some news about Valve working on SteamOS for Steam boxes and
Mhm.
regular computers, I might see if I can just convert my Nook. My
Oh
Nook,
yeah, 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 yeah,
I
yeah,
have a
yeah.
full Windows PC behind my TV, and the only thing I use it for is gaming. And if I'm going to do that and the experience is roughly similar to playing on my Steam
Steam
Deck,
Deck. Yeah.
there's no point in me running Windows on that box anymore.
I think that's their
SteamOS
goal. I think that's probably what
could
their
replace
goal
this for
is.
me.
They know there already is that fanless PC, mini PC type of market that's been around for years, and to be able to run SteamOS on top of that and just leverage, and then again, as you said,
Awesome
running
sauce.
Linux, yeah, exactly, run a much lighter, much quicker,
Because
snappier operating system.
because JDJ's been asking a couple other people, it's not so much whether or not Epic Games plays on a Steam Deck. The game developers have built a game that can run in a Proton environment.
Yeah,
Epic can't control
where
that part of the game development. So there are a lot of games that won't, and I bet you Fortnite is probably
can it
problematic.
more than likely
But
it's
I
going to
don't
be
play
in the same
Fortnite,
boat.
so I don't care if that's going to run in a Linux environment. But when I go and buy Dundara and I can get it from the Epic Games Store, Dundara plays great on a Steam Deck, so that shouldn't change
There's more
when
updates.
I
Okay, I
fire
didn't
up
realize that there are more
the
updates.
Epic launcher.
Okay, I got it. I
And
got
my
it.
tech review is also completely correct.
You
This
can't
thing
test.
is such a fun platform for xCloud. So if you're on Game Pass and you're firing up games that way, obviously most of what I've used Game Pass for in the past has been Game Pass for PC,
Hmm.
and from getting the Steam Deck, it was almost like a complete 180. Now almost everything that I'm doing is xCloud. The only time I'm looking at Game Pass for PC anymore is that's where I've got Shredder's Revenge. So
Okay.
when we play couch co-op, you still can't do two-player over xCloud. I mean, you can't. You can do remote, but you
Yeah.
can't do local couch co-op or local couch competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Head
can
to head.
only play with one controller at a time. So I went ahead and installed Shredder's Revenge on my PC, but that's it. It's only because that's the only game Lex seems interested in really picking up a controller for. Anything else has been game streaming, and the Steam Deck has been phenomenal.
Next time, I think when we
For
see each
that.
other, I definitely want to see we can set up a game and we can just sit down and practice and just play head to head. Let's
Heck
see
yeah!
how many more updates there is for the Steam Deck, because apparently, okay, now I'm up to date. Okay, so there was one more update that apparently I did not have.
And
Now I
so,
need
Farhan
my
and Michael
phone.
Peppertech are both kind of throwing in questions here. So, Farhan, I always play console emulators, so I'm sticking with Windows. It's
Hmm.
still more stable overall than Linux. And Michael Peppertech, did you see where LTT, Linus Tech Tips,
Linus Tech Tips.
ran Nintendo Switch games on a Steam Deck? I always dabble with my little collection of Nintendo and Super Nintendo ROMs. I've
Emulators.
got like a little folder full of just some of my favorite games there. So I haven't really stressed it too hard where Linux compatibility for a lot of these emulators has been an issue.
Hmm.
Like Nintendo and Super Nintendo emulation has been
It's the most,
fine
yeah,
for
it's
a
the most popular one.
decade anywhere you would want to play those games. The one
Even on
that
Android.
surprised me,
Okay.
I was not expecting the Steam Deck is just powerful enough to kind of keep up with PS3.
Whoa. Okay.
I can
So
play
PS3
Dead
emulator.
Nation, one of my
Hmm.
all-time favorite twin stick sort of horror shooters.
Hmm.
PlayStation 3 game, it is able to keep it running okay. When you've got a ton of zombies all swarming you, you're basically dead because it's gonna chug. And
Yeah.
you're trying to line up like a sniper shot, and then like something just sort of bites your head off, and you couldn't even really see where it was coming from.
No, no, I'm
We're
with you.
right at that power, that performance tier. We're so close, and PS3 emulation is not easy. Like, you
No,
need a little horsepower to kind of make up for that weird cell processor that was in the PS3. The
mhm.
Steam Deck is like just almost there to do it
I
for
wonder if kind of
real,
like a Final Fantasy
which is
on a
awesome.
PS3 Final Fantasy game would probably run much better. Or maybe you have
Maybe,
too many elements. You think like it,
but
depending on
and
like the
like
layout of
anything
maps.
turn-based would probably
Yeah.
be fine. You wouldn't mind if like your frame rate dropped to like 10 frames per second. An arcadey horror shooter
Mhm.
relying on jump scares with swarms of zombies coming at you.
Yeah.
You're not
That's
really gonna roll credits on that game. You're not gonna finish that.
it's too many elements. You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's too much. But the fact that it loaded up, it fired up, and really the emulator stayed stable. And like I said, PS3 was a weird console in terms of hardware. To be able to emulate that kind of gameplay
Mhm.
on a more traditional PC APU is mind-boggling.
Wonder if you can
That
get
is
like a God
so
of
flippin'
War
cool.
emulator, like from the PS3 version of the God of War, like the OG version of God of
The
War.
PS2. So like the
Oh, that's right.
PS2, and then the what was not the was it the PSP or the PS Vita? There was a really good
Vita.
God of War
I
for the
want to say the.
Vita.
Yeah, I want to. Is
Because
it the
those have been
PSP?
playing great on phones. Like, I had phones that were running
Oh yeah,
old
yeah, yeah.
rips
No, no.
of God of War.
Yeah, no. Like I said, we have way too much power on mobile devices at this time. Um, no, I actually, I'll have to see. I want to be able to load up some of that. I mean, I realize that God of War is available; like you can download it and install it here. But I'd rather see if I
Hmm.
can run like an old version of it because I already bought it for my PlayStation 5. This is the weird part about it, but it's not portable. So that's the biggest factor here. Do I want to pay another $50 for the game,
Isn't it
or do I
isn't it
get a
hilarious
Ragnarok?
though that like it does kind of help make the argument for the way that Steam does business.
I love the way they
It's
do
been
business, man. It's so
so
much better.
easy. I
Exactly.
went and got the Blaster Master Zero trilogy.
Mhm.
The, they're old 16-bit platforming jumping tank
Yeah, yeah.
games, and I had them on some older Nintendo hardware, but I guess I need to own them again. So
Well, so the new God of War I don't have. So there's the new God of War coming out in the next couple of weeks, I think,
mhm.
or like middle October, I think. But it's God of War Ragnarok. So I think for that one, I may just get it on the Steam Deck. Like, don't get
Yeah,
it. Although I
I would.
prefer it to be on my, but then again, I can also play it on my PC. So I
But
know at least on the PC I can get the full effect,
I'll be
but on
really interested
mobile,
to see because I feel like Sony is going to do a delay.
oh,
So whatever comes to the PlayStation 5 is going to
we'll
the
get first.
PlayStation 5, and the first people who are going to get their hands on it are the people who buy it outright.
Oh,
Then there's
absolutely.
going to be sort of a second launch tier for people on the various PlayStation subscription services, and
Mhm.
then it could be like a year later that they'll then open it up to PC. I mean, because remember, like Spider-Man has been around for a while, and they finally just ported it over to PC. This is
Or
new
even,
for
or even,
Sony
or even the God of War.
doing this kind of
It's been around
PC
for about a year
redistribution.
before they just brought it over. The new God of War that we have right now in
Yeah.
the on the Steam Deck. Yeah, no, it took them a while, but they've seen
So
the
so
success of where the PC users
yeah,
love their,
but
especially these
again, they're
titles.
going to focus their distribution and their money is first. Can we get it to PlayStation and improve the sort of PlayStation numbers
I think
on
PS5 and PS4 are going to be the primary launch cycle as initially. You're
for
going to
sure?
get both versions. Yeah, they're still supporting the
So if
PS4.
you really want to play Ragnarok, I mean, PlayStation 5 is going to be where
The
it's
best way.
at.
Oh no, absolutely.
But having a Steam Deck is definitely making me sort of reconsider some purchases where I'd rather have it on the Steam Deck.
Or you know what? Maybe what we could do is just convert the Steam Deck into a portable monitor, connect it to the PlayStation 5, and just carry the PlayStation 5 with us all around on an airplane. You do get one power socket, right? You just plug that in there and then get the
Sure,
PS5
it'll totally
controller.
work.
Absolutely, and it's cold up there. It should be fine. Yeah, it's like you remember, like
Right?
back the old LAN parties where you used to bring your whole computer with you to the party,
Man.
like everything.
What was great is you would always see like photos of doing a LAN party and like by the end of the evening, everyone's like shirtless and in shorts, and because you
Yeah,
had so
because
many
it was so
computers
much.
with
It
CRT
was.
monitors all on the same switch in the same room, like you were
It
just
was.
cooking.
It was basically,
Oh,
yeah. It was
it
a
was so
sauna.
gross.
It was. Those are the tough. I mean, but no, seriously. Like nowadays, nobody was like, "Will you LAN party, dude? Just die. Connect in, man. We can play whatever you
But
want. You don't need to."
kind of tapping in, and like if you enjoyed God of War,
Yeah, always.
Horizon, did you like Horizon?
I
That
did.
plays
Yeah,
pretty well on the
I
Steam
got.
Deck.
I did not install that on Steam Deck. I played it
Okay.
on the PlayStation, but yeah,
But
Horizon West and
how about Hellblade? Did you like Hellblade?
did not play
Sauna's
Hellblade.
okay.
I
Okay.
okay.
So get some good
I
headphones. They do this binaural. It's a game that's sort of the combat mechanics can be overly simplistic. Like you can beat the game just spamming your basic weak attack, but if you really get into your combos and juggling and your dodge and
Hellblade, right?
your
Oh, it's
I forget what
Warhammer.
that the retaliation whatever,
Hmm.
the game can kind of open up a bit more. Um, the game is also built on this storytelling mechanic of a woman who suffers from from hearing voices.
Hmm.
There's like a commentary on mental health in this game as well. And when you play the game with headphones and the headphone jack, the DAC and the amp on the Steam Deck are surprisingly good. So
Hmm.
pop in some real good cans. I mean, like
Yeah. So
maybe even your
that
770s.
I've been enjoying actually the speakers have been so good that I didn't even bother trying to put it. But you're right. For more personals, you
But
do
no,
want the
but
physical.
no, no, no. For Hellblade, the voices that the character hears float in space around your head and become a part of the sound design.
Okay.
It's really good gaming storytelling,
Hmm.
even if the gameplay itself can sometimes be a little simplistic or a little repetitive. The
Yeah.
combat loop can be solved really easily. Like I said, you can just like attack, 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 parry, attack, attack, attack. I'm done. But the rest of the way that the story unfolds and the way they handle mental illness in the story through an audio mechanic, I thought
Hmm.
was really fresh. So
Okay.
that's one where having a badass DAC built into a portable gaming console totally makes sense for you to try that game with some good headphones. But
Okay.
again, if you like a God of War style kind
Yeah.
of combat mechanic, this is sort of a God of War on easy mode, or
Like you
not.
said.
Maybe not easy. Maybe that's a little reductive. But it's a God of War, maybe not quite as deep. It's maybe a little more shallow combat mechanic. But I really enjoy the game. I really like, in part because it does like it makes me want to throw on really good headphones and kind of like zone out, space out to this woman's the voices in her head.
So one thing I did want to ask, and I didn't get a chance to test it out on my side yet. With most games that install, have you had any issues playing them in airplane mode, like when you're traveling on a plane?
Yeah, a
Are
few.
there okay?
Any
So there are
games that
some.
have any kind of online sort of check or anti-cheat that is compatible with what Steam does. There are a few where you try and load them up and you're like, nope, you can't. And you're like, I guess I'll just have to play something else until I can find some Wi-Fi or throw my phone into a hotspot mode.
Because I
On that
wonder.
airplane
Uh,
flight, there I can't remember which, but
uh-huh.
it was like four in a row where I had installed the game, but I hadn't really launched it, so it
Yeah.
had never been activated on my Steam Deck. And I'd go to launch it, and you're like, no, you can't play it. I'm like, damn. Okay, well, what about this? Oh, right, I can't play that one either. Uh, oh man. So I ended up just like playing Tetris, but it was
Okay.
fine.
Because I got to figure. I want to test out a few because I think I may have something in mid October coming up
Hmm.
that I may be on a flight for some time. So if I do, it may be going to East Coast or something
Well,
like
the
that.
nice
You
thing
know,
is you've got your portable gaming solution worked out. You just got to make sure you're sort of
the glass
prepped on the games that might need to be online
can. Oh,
activated before you get on
abs-
the plane.
Well, no, not only that, I also make sure that whatever seat I pick has a wall outlet so that I have enough juice to be able to carry and, keep my
Although
hands toasty.
this is why I'm saying get good at Vampire Survivors, and you should be able to get close to an East Coast flight on runs of Vampire Survivors.
Oh yeah, no, I don't
So
doubt
what?
it.
So
I
what?
think that game is easy.
What is that? Is it like a 5 hour flight? Is that
Roughly five,
to New
yeah,
York?
5 hour. It's almost.
Okay.
I mean, they
So
listed
that's
as five and
10
a half.
runs of Vampire Survivors. You could do that on a fully charged Steam Deck.
I should be able to. Okay, I'll test it
It's
out.
like 6-bit graphics. It's not
No, no,
even
no. I
like
know.
8-bit.
When I was running Mortal Kombat, it told me that that at 70% it would run me for another hour and 10 minutes on Mortal Kombat. But Mortal Kombat is
Right.
very intensive. I totally agree. You're right. It
Yeah,
depends on the
Control, I
game.
was looking at maybe 90 minutes. And
Yeah,
you're like, this
yeah,
thing is
yeah.
running hot to get
Well,
me that
but that's
90
the thing.
minutes.
I was listening to the audio and the audio was loud enough. I never actually even heard the fan. The fan wasn't even playing loud enough. It's still, I was actually holding it because I was trying to put it on the table. So I was playing with it like this, but then I was done. I grabbed it this way to put it on the table. And then I was like, oh no, what is that?
Oh, that's a little warm.
Yeah, that was a little bit, and it had a
It's
smell
toasty.
a little bit at the beginning, but I think it's because it's
Oh
fresh.
yeah,
That that
new
new,
PCB
yeah, all the
circuit board smell.
burning all the dust stuff and stuff. So yeah, so I learned quickly not to do that anymore. From now on, we just lay it down two-handed, or even hold it from the
Yeah.
bottom, something away from the top part. Although I did read, some people were talking about that there are some options that are a little bit more power efficient, but also better air cooling, so it blows more, like
Yeah.
quieter, more powerful fans. So I may be able to do that. That's the beauty.
I-
It's that you
I'll
can
be curious to
tinker.
see. Yeah. Apparently, I don't know how true this is. This could also just be the placebo effect of having done the disassembly. Like I
Mhm.
haven't seen a really good before and after audio comparison. This is all just anecdotal data from like the Steam Deck subreddit. But people are saying that the replacement fan from
Mhm.
iFixit is actually a better fan than what is supplied in the Steam Deck, and that
Might be, yeah.
it runs cooler and it runs quieter. But I would love to see, again, being the stupid former Newegg PC building nerd that I am. It's like, where's my Noctua fans
Yeah. Oh
for
my
the
God.
Steam
Yeah. Yeah.
Deck?
No. Exactly. I
Whereas
want
like
to
I want to look down the vent and see that creamy brown color, like trying to pull air out of my Steam
the
Deck.
beige and dark brown color fans. That classic look. I never understood the color scheme from Noctua, but I appreciated their performance.
But it's
They just
totally
don't.
iconic. I know exactly. I know
Yeah.
exactly what that is
It,
now.
it it's almost like a Pixel 7 when you're walking around and you see it and you're like, that's a Pixel 7
Hey,
or that's a
because of
Pixel
all the
6.
Pixel 7s that we see. Before we go, I mean, I know we put Pixel 7 in pricing. That's just a rumor.
Oh no,
We
absolutely.
have one other transition that's still Steam Deck adjacent, though.
Oh, please.
So we were talking, like you can just get a USB-C cable and
Yeah,
plug it into your Steam Deck, and you can very easily hook it up to a TV, a
which is what I was
monitor.
doing earlier, and I was
Yeah,
actually broadcasting
for
straight
sure.
into the stream directly from
And
there.
like one of the best ways that you can play your Steam Deck, especially like say you're on an airplane,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
So why on an airplane you don't have to just stick with the tiny little Steam Deck screen. Like you could have like a larger screened viewing experience on the Steam Deck with some kind of like heads up wearable display
Oh
that then
crap!
plugs
Yes, you're
into
right.
a Steam Deck,
It
and then
okay,
you could
okay,
be
okay.
playing on an airplane with like 130-inch television,
Vision
and
on
all you would need to carry is like a pair of sunglasses.
a pair of sunglasses. Be that one guy wearing sunglasses on an airplane at night. I
I
wear
wear
my
my
sunglasses
sunglasses
on a
on an
flight.
airplane at night.
No, on a flight. You got to say, I wear my sunglasses on a flight because I'm
Oh
playing
wait, hold on,
Steam
Wait, no,
Deck
no.
tonight.
I wear my sunglasses in flight.
Because
Yeah,
I'm going to be playing my Steam Deck tonight.
yeah. See, there we go. I mean,
Gotta
basically, we are
continue.
just cranking the pop hits. These are the
I-
NREAL Air.
oh my
And
God.
I'm working on a video with the folks at NREAL. We are talking about trying to do sort of a sponsored conversation on heads up,
Yeah.
wearable, augmented reality.
Oh,
This is
absolutely.
blurring the lines between just a heads up, like we got to play with the TCL NextWear. So that's just a wearable display. It's just a
Yeah.
TV on your face.
Hmm.
The NREAL Airs actually do have some low-level AR built in. So you can either use them as just a straight up heads up display, and you'll
Yeah,
just see like giant image in front of you.
Hmm.
Or if you plug them into an Android phone, you can use the NREAL app to
Yep.
then put like browsers that stick in space around you. So you use your phone like a remote, and it's hilarious because it does feel like a fishing rod. You kind of fling a
Yeah,
browser page out and
I
pull it
played with it for
back,
like 2 seconds on Tuesday as we were eating
right?
breakfast. I'm like scarfing
So
breakfast. I was
we're
like,
showing
yeah,
this off. We were at a TCL event, and TCL makes those heads-up displays, and someone walks by like, "Oh, hey, are you using the Nextwares?" And you're like, "No,
no.
you won't sell them here." So we were playing with something else.
Yeah,
Um,
no, I know.
so the NREALs, when you play with these individual windows, you can dock, and then your head tracking will remember the position of the browser in space. So just it's like a low rent HoloLens.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I can fling a video window and have Netflix playing over here, and then I can be working on a document right in front of me, and just like I would look over at a TV, it's going to remember that
The
position in
positioning,
space so that
exactly.
I
Yeah,
can see where that's at. But the first
it
thing I plugged these into
was a Steam
was my
Deck.
Steam Deck.
And I'm assuming, obviously, as USB-C video output, it played straight up, and it was
Yeah,
glorious and Maximus
one
and
cable
all
connection.
one cable connection, beautiful. And your battery lasted for 2.5 minutes at that point,
It
or
it it definitely cut into the battery life, but then
okay,
also it's funny. The NREAL Air have 1080p Sony micro OLEDs.
okay,
So there are two teeny tiny little OLEDs up in the top, and
hmm
then these sub lenses behind the sunglasses sort of periscope that image into your eyes.
hmm
But because they're 1080p, that's a higher resolution than the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck will play at 1080p, but it cuts the frame rate on a lot of games.
oh, down
So
to
where the
30, I'm
Steam Deck
assuming.
can do Tetris Effect in 720 at 60 frames per second and not blink, I was dropping down to like 40 frames per second to play Tetris on these.
Yeah.
So you do need to treat it like a computer with an external display. You're really not going to get 4K gaming on a Steam Deck with like a 4K TV.
Yeah,
But if
yeah.
you go and you tweak your settings or you change your
Because it's a
resolution
screen
or your
mirror. It's
frame
not.
rate,
It's not a projection. It's actually
yeah.
replacing the, yeah. And once you plug it in, it turns off the display on the Steam Deck, but it does.
hmm
It's essentially mirroring it. Actually,
But
my
it's
camera.
driving two little OLEDs, and it's having to put out a higher resolution. So I would imagine the Steam Deck's built-in LCD
Mhm.
would probably eke out slightly better battery life than connecting the Steam Deck to the NREAL.
The Unreal, and then
So
there's no way to set the Unreals to to a lower resolution, right? You can't change the resolution on the actual unit themselves. Like even though they're
not on the
1080,
glasses, but you could. But depending on the game you play, you can go into the game settings and set the resolution lower, and you probably
okay,
make up some of that difference. I don't know that that would look amazeballs
hmm
playing 720p on a 1080p display, but you could do that. Like
yeah, yeah,
that is one solution that would help minimize the impact on the performance.
I
It probably still wouldn't change the power draw
yeah.
significantly.
No, no, I think external displays. The thing about it is we don't have a lot of options really, realistically, that are not specifically app reliant. I think the ones we were talking from TCL required an app to run. Back then, when they were first releasing it, wasn't it running on the 20 Pro? Was it the 20 Pro was the only one that ran the app? So it required a specific app. It wasn't just a straight up display mirroring. In the Nextwear Air, the NXwear Air, the one we saw at CES, is supposed to
hmm
be similar, closer to what you have without.
Yeah.
But like you said, though, it's pretty much just it's a straight up display. It doesn't have a UI element. TCL was developing a separate version of that kind of looked like the NReals with the UI, but it
hmm
was so early they didn't really have a lot of information on it. It was even the software was so early, but we could see that they had the ability of switching different menus, different widgets come up.
Yeah.
So I think what we see with what you have right now is a generational upgrade for at least 2 to 3 years. This is not something that they've just started making them. Nreal has been in the game for quite some time, and I remember seeing
Well,
them at.
and these are a stripped version because they came out with a different style of more HoloLens like head tracking.
Oh,
The
okay,
first
okay, okay.
generation of Nreals were actually beefier.
hmm
The Nreal Air are more streamlined and a little bit more consumer facing, so they aren't quite as fancy, but they still have found some ways to kind of keep some of the HoloLens like UI
hmm
performance, even though
Yeah.
it's not quite as I believe the first generation Nreals had more degrees of head tracking and had cameras.
Mhm.
so that they could see and better interact with objects in your environment. These have none of that.
So
So
no
it's
cameras,
only
but
based on your head movements and the accelerometer and the gyroscope.
you center the
But
head movement in the with the UI element. But yeah, I know what you
yeah,
mean.
and so wherever you throw your home, that's where it assumes front. So there's like a little home button on the app and it pulls up the UI, and where you're looking you throw home and then it fully occupies that field of view. But
Yeah.
then if you look away, home will disappear,
Yeah,
and then
because
you
home
have
stays where
to
it is.
disable home and throw it back. Chop is asking, can you connect the NREALs to your PC? So this will connect to anything over a video out through USB.
Mm-hmm.
So Steam Deck, single USB cable video output. Android phones, single cable USB video output.
Yeah,
If you go, so one
Does
of
it?
the reasons why
Mhm.
I'm technically not breaking any embargoes here. Okay, so I just want everybody to know that I'm technically correct, which is the best kind of
Of
correct
technically, yeah.
in talking about this. The announcement that they're making, and one of the reasons why I'm working with them, is this new adapter. So we know iPhones are kind of stupid, right? Like we can all agree they're sort of dumb. They're
There's not a
they're
lot of
not very smart
they don't play well
smartphones.
with they don't play well with external
No.
external
TK, you're
stuff.
being kind. They're
Okay.
just dumb.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not particularly intelligent smartphones. I'm totally being snarky because it's always been one of my biggest pet peeves that iPhones can't power anything off of the Lightning connector.
Yeah.
So if you try to plug a USB flash drive into an iPhone, it can't power a USB flash drive. So NREAL did want iPhone consumers to play along too.
Mm-hmm.
So this is their solution. Anything that just has a passive HDMI, so say you've got like a camera or
Mm-hmm.
some other type of video equipment or just something that puts out a standard HDMI connection, it's not going to show up on these glasses. They came up with this. This is a battery enclosure with an HDMI port, and
Okay.
it's designed specifically so you can pull out the HDMI puck and it works directly with Apple's
Oh,
Lightning
the
HDMI
HDMI adapter.
dongle.
Yeah. Okay.
So it fits directly into the battery shell. Now this has a powered output
Right.
for the
It provides the power over.
USB,
Yeah.
and the iPhone doesn't have to power anything. You just have to add 3,000 milliamps of juice
Mm-hmm.
to get that connection working so that
And
the
then now,
iPhone can do the video output without having a charger connected to the iPhone HDMI dongle.
yeah.
So it's actually kind of an ingenious little solution.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bulkier chain than if you just had a smarter Android phone that could just accomplish that with a single cable.
Exactly.
But this could also help with anything else that has a passive HDMI that won't power the glasses directly. So I thought it was a really clever solution. This is like $60 to get the battery adapter. Obviously, the iPhone dongle is sold
More.
separately.
It'll be
but
more.
it fits. Yeah, it's Apple. It always costs
It's
more.
Apple. Yeah.
But it fits beautifully. Like the way that they built this to interact with that specifically, you're like, okay, yeah, I get it. iPhones, Lightning connectors, dongles, sure. But then you just pop it out and you slide on the stock HDMI port that it comes with, and it'll work with anything else. So it is a cool little accessory. But if you plug these, like Chop was asking, if you plug these into a laptop, you're going to get either mirrored or extended desktop, or you could go into privacy mode, just have your laptop screen up visible here.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's one cable connection. My little Microsoft Surface Laptop Go 2 student edition laptop had no issues firing these up over a USB-C. They're
Oh yeah, no,
they're
that's
pretty
one.
rad.
The USB-C port on that laptop is actually very nice, and that one I feel like has a lot more power to continue to enjoy the gaming on it more. Remind me, what is the battery capacity on the Steam Deck? Is it 10,000, like a 10,000 battery, or
10.
is it like, okay, so it's
Yeah.
the rough, okay, good.
So
But
I think they're more apt to measure it in watt hour.
yeah,
So watt hour, to convert watt hour to milliamp hour means that you actually have to consider load, and
Mhm.
obviously that's variable because
depending on the
it's
game.
not Yeah, it's going to depend on the game, but the way that we would calculate milliamp hour, I believe you would
It's
say it's a
roughly
10,000
it's
milliamp
about a
hour
10,000,
battery.
yeah, which is yeah, it depends on the usage. But so speaking of the fact that we were talking about the NREAL, so that was something that you're playing around with. We got a chance to go on a little, I would say like a little excursion, maybe let's just say that. There
Yeah,
was a nice little
right in our
event.
backyard.
Finally, yeah, finally something I could take an Uber to. Let's just say that. It was, it
And
was
I did, and it
and
was
you
very
did that,
pricey. I've
and it was
completely lost track of how much Ubers cost.
well, not only that. So for me, so when we were leaving, a little bit of an anecdotal conversation. We both left on Tuesday night. I stayed a little bit later than Juan because I had to pack up and stuff like that. But as I was leaving, Dave Matthews Band at the Hollywood Bowl was letting
Yeah.
out, and with the place we were staying at
Dude
was
commands a bigger audience than I would have assumed.
I did not think. Yeah, seriously, like, um, hands. Don't get me wrong. Big fan of his. Not big enough, obviously, because I didn't know he was in town. But the crowds that were coming out, and the police diverting traffic and all of that, and there was an upcharge. Of course, as you know, Uber loves to know exactly when times are busy, and they like to multiply. So yeah, no, it gets
Yeah.
expensive. Uber is not cheap as it's not the cheap option they used to be. But long story, kind of extremely weirdly ending kind of thing. We had a good day. We got a good chance to hang out with the folks over at TCL. We had a chance to do some sightseeing. We got some famous haunted houses, and we got a chance to, if Nvidia will ever focus on.
Come on,
Come on,
focus. There
okay,
we go.
there we go. Okay, we'll do one and see how long. And Sony, of course, just like, you know,
It's
of
just
course.
funny because my Panasonic focuses on Sony phones faster than your Sony camera can, but on
Uh,
others,
that is the
it's
isn't
going
that
to take
weird?
the win.
Isn't that the coolest thing though? Isn't that the coolest feature ever? You get Panasonic doing Sony stuff faster, but TCL for some reason works. The phone that we have right now is a blue color. So this is supposed to be a blue. I think what did they call it
It's
on
a
the box?
pearlescent. It changes. I mean, like if you kind of hold it at an angle, it's kind of gold and
Dreamy blue
orange.
is what they're calling. Yeah, it has that
Yeah,
dream.
but it doesn't say. It's kind of like when I'm looking at it like this, it's sort of orange creamsicle, and then it turns back to blue when I'm
And well,
off
I get a lot of
access
purple.
on
I got a lot of
light.
purple out of it
So.
for some reason, depending on
Oh,
the angle
totally.
of the light.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's the TCL 30 5G.
30, yeah, just 30. There's no other monikers under it. And there's no XE or
Headphone jack. It's
Mhm.
got a power button fingerprint sensor. Totally
Pretty good
flat
one actually.
sides, flat display.
Yep.
This
Dimensity
is
700.
the OLED. Is that
He said I want to say he was talking about OLED at the same time, but I could not remember because they never gave us a spec sheet. So we're looking at obviously the information. They were talking about the
because
mini
it's a
LEDs
good
from
looking screen.
It is a nice display, 60 frames per second, solid, and 50 megapixel main camera shooter on the back, 2 megapixel depth, 2 megapixel macro with a
I'm pretty
13
sure.
front facing camera.
Well, maybe not. I'm pretty sure it is an OLED or it's a really fancy LCD if it's not.
Well, so the thing about it is, it's also supposed to be a sub $300 phone. So it's really more of the budget friendly
Retail is 269, so not only sub 300 but like
that's close to
full
250
MSRP that no one will ever spend on this phone
is
is well sub
well sub
$300.
300. And it comes with a charger in the box. Surprise, surprise, they still exist. Charger, wired, and of course SD card support and headphone jack, as Juan was mentioning. So it's definitely a nice little guy. Coming next month to the US market as a unlocked model. So it is coming to
Yeah,
the US, currently available. I want to say it's available in Europe, just not available in the US. From
yeah.
what it sounded like, they released it before. So we got a chance to
Oh,
play with
they
that.
released it much earlier, but it is finally coming here.
Absolutely.
And again, interesting timing, just with
Well, no,
everything
no.
that's
So
happening
they've
in
had
Techtober.
other devices on the market in the US with the Verizon variant, the T-Mobile variant of the TCL 30. So they've been doing a different approach
Hmm.
this year, and I think this is just continuing that conversation. But I think it was like collaboratively, everybody was saying we need a TCL 30 Pro. We need the Pro sequel to last year's 20 Pro.
Well, I was really stoked to see like the woman from TCL who's kind of taken over for some of these media events.
Mhm.
She's been rocking the 20 Pro. Like you see a lot of PR folks that are like, yeah, I'm totally helping with this TCL event from my
My
iPhone.
phone, yeah.
Waka waka. And she was like, no, this is the phone that I like. And it's
Yeah.
the 20 Pro. So she's actually rocking.
She absolutely is rocking the right one. And we got a chance also, like I said, we did a tour of the TCL theater, got our handprint
Yeah.
imprinted. So apparently I wasn't supposed to take my handprint back home with me. I don't
Why
know
not?
what. So
So they sent me mine because I didn't stay. That you could opt to stay overnight if you wanted to, and TK
yeah.
did.
I did the first
But
night because I didn't want
but
to
because I didn't have
traffic
a
and stuff.
room, I was like, yeah, just go ahead and send it to me. But I figured anyone who wanted to just take theirs, they could just take it.
For the most part, I think so myself and Terrence were the only two who took it at the beginning. It's the gentleman that was helping us told us, put your name on it, and then on your way out, you can ask for it. And then I left a little earlier because I needed to jump on a call. So I just swung by as I was done with the TV portion of the tour. And then I picked it up and then left. And then but TCL didn't know. So I got a notification this morning of a shipping label being created for me from TCL, and it's like £6 and stuff. But then 2 minutes later, I get an email from them saying, "Hey, do you have yours? Because we can't find it." And I sent them my response back to them was like, "Yep," and then it was a picture, the one I shared on Twitter and Instagram. So yeah, no, it was fun. It was nice. It was a nice time to spend. I mean, it was nice to spend time with TCL and get exposed to a lot of their tech, but it was also a really good time to hang out with yourself. Obviously, hanging out with Juan, like it was more than just a podcast kind of a thing. We got a chance to hang out like serious stuff. And then
Like we had like 3 whole meals together
in one day, in one day. Well, actually, technically, yeah, no, it is 3 meals because we didn't have breakfast together, right? No, we did have breakfast together.
We did have breakfast.
We had dinner the
So
night
we did
before, so
4
that's
meals
4.
together, but we did 3 whole meals in one day. So,
Cuatro. We did, yeah, we did the
man.
numbers. So that
If
was
only we had been able to work
part.
in a second breakfast.
That would have been, it would have been cool, but we would have been stuck in traffic like forever. Because the morning traffic was the one thing I did not want to deal with, especially in the morning. Because people going to work, people coming, it would have been just horrible. And I opted to just go home. I got home like at 12:30 at night, but it was still worth it to just be able to wake up in my bed, take a shower, just be ready for the day that way. So long story short, we got a chance to check out some really cool TVs. They have some new the 6 series TVs coming out for 2022 with
55,
some of their new
65 and 75 inches with like
their new
newly redesigned backlighting zones.
Oh my god,
more mini LEDs.
Absolutely, essentially it's
nits. More HDRs,
more zones.
More
yeah, definitely. Their dimming zones have increased tremendously, like from what they had with the 6 series last year. So I have the 6 series from last year. I have a 65 from there, and I have the Google edition, the Google Google TV edition. I was going to say Google Home edition, that doesn't exist. The Google TV edition. But yeah, so long story short, a lot of exciting stuff. There going to be more information coming up very soon, but definitely exciting for the holiday season, for the new, for people looking for TVs and so on. TCL is definitely pushing the limits there. So we'll see how that kind of comes out. But I think like realistically, it was fun to see events like this happen. And TCL being a local brand for us because they're not that far. Their main office is a little bit south of us. It was nice that they decided to do it in LA. So thank you. That was very.
But we got to see a bunch of friends. We were hanging out with Nick Ray from Fandroid. We were hanging out with Adam from Tech Odyssey.
Yeah. Adam was with us. Yeah, exactly.
I got a cranky morning chatting with Jay Will. Just like, oh, kids today with their YouTubes. And I was like, yes, I too am old.
Yeah.
I know of what you speak. Ricky, the YouTube tech guy.
Greggles, we saw Greg as well.
Greggles.
Yeah.
Greggles is another one. I want to start hitting him up because I know Greggles does a bunch of Samsung content. I think we need to get him on the let's turn our channels into Steam Deck and gaming channels bandwagon. Because he was chatting up Steam Deck also. And I think I got him hooked on Vampire Survivors by the end of the event too. So I feel like he would be one to. Yeah, I know, it wasn't like I twisted his arm hard. He was like, "Yeah, okay," and he went and just bought it because at the time it was like a $3 game. Obviously Josh and Issa
Issa were there. Yeah, for sure.
were there. I mean, it was really David the Unlocker.
Oh, Kogan, yeah. We had Tank Girl as well. Miriam Dwar was there.
Miriam.
Yeah,
It's
Miriam was
always so
there.
nice to get to see Miriam.
Yeah.
She's well, first of all, she's hilarious.
Always.
But it was really solid getting like these are the crews of people that I have not been able to see.
Oh, and then Jaime, we can't forget. We saw Jaime.
Oh yeah,
the senior Jaime Rivera, of course. Yeah,
Jaime
sure.
Rivera.
I can't do his voice, but or his
really
charisma. I can't do that either. But yeah, sorry, Jaime isn't there.
Because he's so.
Because he's Jaime. Yeah, he is Jaime. He just walks.
But it was just genuinely a brilliant 2-day affair.
Absolutely, and we got to meet some new people as well. They had a couple more creators, and then just everybody in there was just like, it was a nice, I mean, it wasn't a massive event. Let's just say that it was not where there was like 30 or 40 people. It was seriously like a core group, and it was really fun. They split us up to 2 teams, and of course your buddy, Juan and I were 2 separate teams, of course, battling at the end of the day with Hollywood and Highland. Who beat that, whatever. And I went up to them. I was like, how do you do that? Did you not get our retainer at the beginning of the contract paperwork and all of that? It's like, thou shall not split TK and Juan to separate teams.
Right.
Like you. And then apparently Miriam decided to not even read what was on her.
She was just like, I want to go on that other bus. So she just got on the bus and she was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, so apparently I totally could have just walked over there and kind of, I do have a picture I need to share with you that I took of you when you were right before you left on the bus. You were taking pictures of somebody there. So you were, because where you were sitting on the bus, right? You were sitting on the windows closer to the theater before you guys left, and you kind of went arm over and you were like taking a picture. So you look like a really fancy
I need that as like, because I'm in the middle of Hollywood. Like, this is the most touristy Juan has ever looked in his entire life.
Absolutely, leaning over the window.
I need that.
Like, I gotta take a picture. So,
but it was a nice starter event. Just before the pandemic, we were working with one of the PR reps who's been a longtime friend for both of us. He's no longer working with TCL, but they started this initiative. Obviously, everyone's trying to find a fan community vibe or flavor. There's Team Pixel, Team TCL, these types of like hashtag group and camaraderie kinds of events. And then the pandemic happened, and the folks at TCL obviously haven't really been able to do anything serious. So they've been trying to keep this idea percolating through. Like, they sent us out a little Valentine's Day care pack, and we got candy hearts and a webcam so that we could talk to people if we didn't have a webcam already. It was really, really sweet. Oh, hey, look at that.
And look
that
at
came
the
out
sign.
Great.
Celebrity home and like.
Yeah, no, I totally need that, because both you and I have never done a celebrity homes tour. And so now,
true story, yeah.
We
Been
have.
here for how many years in LA? Not once have I ever been inclined to know where J-Lo's
so
home
they threw us on a bus, and they were like, "Go take
J-Lo's
photos with the
home
new TCL 30. Go do it."
So I was taking a lot of pictures with the TCL 30, but as you can imagine, I was also taking a lot of content with this guy, the X70 Pro Plus, my go-to phone. Like all the content, love it. Like, it's a pleasure. It's a fun camera to play around with, and then of course, because of the low light and then everything with motion, all that good stuff. So yeah, no, we got a chance to take a lot of good pictures with the TCL 10 Pro, 30 Pro, 30, not 30 Pro, wishful thinking. And it was nice. It was a cool day. It wasn't so hot. So it was definitely a lot of fun. So thank you very much to Team TCL and everybody at both on the TV and the mobile side. And of course, just the TCL theater, just getting a chance to go around. And I did not see. So from the few times we've been there, I not once noticed that there is a full size Darth Vader, statue in there.
Because we've gone to TCL events, and especially in the middle of the pandemic, like, they were really careful about the few times that we have met in person by just like shuffling us off to this little box area that TCL
and we would go in from the side. Yeah, we wouldn't even.
We'd go in from the side. Yeah.
Exactly.
So if you've ever seen the Chinese theater, you see this big front facade that's the Chinese sort of architecture, and then there are all the handprints in concrete.
Yep.
And then you very rarely, like, it's been years since I've ever been through the front of the Chinese theater. The last time I went through the front was for I was at the Gravity premiere. I wasn't allowed to walk the red carpet, obviously, but I was at the Gravity premiere.
No.
And so that was a while ago. But what you don't know is like there's a whole infrastructure of people who work at the theater, people who have boxes at the theater. TCL owns the theater, so you go like through a side door.
Not Chinese theater, yeah.
Not Man's. It's not Man's Chinese theater anymore. This is TCL. But you go in through the side, and there are all these labyrinthian passageways all around the periphery of the main stage, the main theater. And so TCL has this box, and to get there, it's like, I don't even know that I could find it on my own if I tried.
No,
it's so impossible. There are all these little like staircases that go to nowhere, and then hallways that
and there's some offices that you pass
exits.
by, and then you're like, well, which turn do I go? Yeah, it was, but it was nice. It was a way also to kind of a little bit of the beat the heat because it was a little bit warm standing in front of the theater waiting for the bus. Yeah, so we got a chance to go up, and people got a chance.
I kind of sunburned a little bit from being on one side of the open air bus.
I want to say Nick may have gotten it worse.
Oh, he totally did.
Yeah, he had some
like especially like where you could see where his sunglasses were kind of over the bridge of his nose.
Yeah, I hope he's doing okay, man. Yeah,
poor guy.
I was luckily enough they had some decent hats for us. So on our trip in the afternoon, I guess they learned from yours in the morning. They came out with bags for people that didn't bring their hats with them, so that they had at least some kind of a hat. So for me, I was like switching front and back the whole time, making sure to kind of cover the air.
It's like kind of twisting it, following the sun.
You gotta, man.
Block.
You gotta. But
So
it was
bad.
later also kind of where the sun was somewhat setting. So in some areas we didn't have as much of an issue. But it was a beautiful day. Beautiful day to be in LA,
It was really
in
cool.
Hollywood, and we got a chance to hang out. That's the best way to say it. And now, of course, I'm coughing. I'm choking on my own.
I'm just so emotional. He's literally choked up over how much fun it was.
Dude, no, seriously, I can't wait to do it again. I think that's the biggest thing.
For sure.
But speaking of exciting and new things coming up potentially in the next few weeks, the 6th of October
basically
seems to be
Google has thrown down the gauntlet. And again, if you buy an $800 iPhone, that's kind of foolish because obviously you'd want to buy the gooder phone at the lower price. And so far that looks like the Pixel 7 could be a very formidable option in that
it looks
premium
like
but not
guns, man.
expensive tier.
Well, I mean, starting at that's going to be the starting point. Again, we need to keep that in mind in the.
That's what I said. $800 iPhone against a $600 Pixel is going to be one of the best fights of the year, and apparently, we're not upset about 60 hertz on iPhones at $800. So that means we should be able to then review the Pixel 7 at 60 hertz for better battery life. And make that a more fair oranges to oranges comparison, so and see where we end up.
Yeah, don't overshadow the competition right out of the box at that price point. No, I know. So the price point that we're talking about primarily,
$599 is. I mean, Barry, like, yeah. I mean, we were obviously just pissing around right there, trying to make this a funny bit. Barry just was like $599 for a Pixel 7. He's like, shut up, just tell us the news, jerks.
Give us the numbers, which is surprisingly the same price as the Pixel 6, which is what we had last year. So that was the biggest.
So
it's.
So well, hold on. I want to kind of throw this out here. Oh, sorry, Chop. The Pixel 7 should be a 90 hertz display, right? Wasn't the Pixel 6 90 hertz? So it was 60 hertz on the 6A, 90 hertz on the 6, and 120 hertz on the 6 Pro. That's what I thought it was.
Okay.
So no, what I'm saying is a bunch of people are going to review the Pixel 7 and they're going to run the Pixel 7 at 90 hertz and then complain that the battery life isn't quite as good as some other phones, but they'll compare it up against a 60 hertz iPhone 14, which is not an oranges to oranges comparison. I feel if you want to try and make that more even, you should try to review them using even hardware.
You're right. Yeah,
pieces.
6A is 60, 6 is 90, and 6 Pro is 1.
Okay, good. Barry is also saying, yeah, 90 hertz on this Pixel 6. Okay, so $599.
Mhm.
That's not a lot of wiggle room to throw in tons of new tech. So I'm assuming, my assumption, and please tell me if you vibe with this or you think I might be off here. We're probably not going to see drastic changes to the cameras. We're
No.
probably not going to see drastic changes to the display. I really feel that in holding at this price, the main difference is going to be aesthetic and the
New
SoC,
SoC.
getting
I
the
was going to
Tensor
say
2.
yeah, and I think that's going to be the biggest thing, and maybe a slight difference in configuration when it comes to RAM. But I think realistically, you're right. Last year it was a sporty jump for them to bring in the 899 and the 599 price tag, and we've seen that those numbers have starting to catch up. So Google realized, like, look, we have a winning match, we have a winning recipe for a device that we're able to put out, and people are not okay, but people are excited about. The Pixel 6 and 6 Pro were sold out for the first month and a half, almost through Christmas, because of the timing on when it was released. So the reality is they're looking to have lightning strike again. The question is, will it strike? I think, in my opinion, with everything going on, you're right. I think the excitement is going to be mostly focusing on what Tensor 2 is going to be, the improvements that we've seen. Android 13 is already out. So that's the other thing. We don't
Yeah.
need to necessarily worry about the operating system. We know it will release with Android 13. This is not going to be an upgraded version.
Well,
So first
and
device,
we've gone an entire year where, I mean, to be
all the
fair,
improvements.
the
Yeah,
Pixel
no,
6
no.
Pro had some teething pains at the
Oh,
launch of
absolutely.
Android
We,
12.
we we all remember the December update. Actually, we
But
don't, because
if
it never happened.
Tensor 2 is mostly just a die shrink, here's where I'm getting, a
little bit excited.
semiconductor industry nerd excited.
Mhm.
I don't necessarily need more performance. Tensor
Okay.
is a beast, but it's
Oh,
a
yeah.
tricky beast to tame,
Mhm.
especially for those thermals. So if you give me a die shrink, and even if it's just a step down from 5 nanometers to 4 nanometers,
Yeah.
that gives me a little extra headroom to run the Tensor configuration at a higher level and
With
still
less
get a
fire.
little bit of a battery savings at the same
Mhm.
time.
Yeah, yeah.
That's kind of all I really need. That's what I'm hoping the 8 Gen 2 is. I'm hoping the 8 Gen 2 doesn't significantly outperform the 8 Gen 1. I hope it gives us better thermals and better overhead so that our battery life improves. And then we still have a laptop powerful chip
Mhm.
in that phone. It's just not running as hot. So that's my big hope. And if we're keeping that $599 price point, if we can really get more of the performance out of those dual X1 cores out of the
Mhm.
Tensor chip, but at that die shrink, then I think we've got a really compelling upgrade for people who were maybe holding out or sitting on the sidelines from Pixel 4 XL. Like if you
Oh,
wanted that Pixel flagship experience, but you didn't want to jump first generation on a Tensor,
yeah, yeah.
this to me now is like $600. A GN1 camera sensor, which is still one of the absolute best camera sensors on the market, probably an adequate ultra wide 90 hertz display, better battery life.
Mhm.
That to me is now like, okay, that is a true upgrade path from the Pixel 4 days.
And so I think that's the reality. We need to keep in mind that the 7 is not necessarily an upgrade path from the 6. And a lot of people, I know typically a lot of reviewers and a lot of companies will start reviews like, well, how does this compare to last year's model? The reality is that you need to think about at least 2 generations before that. People are keeping their phones a lot longer.
Yeah.
People that picked up
Well,
the Pixels last year, yeah.
because this is also the weirdness. Apple is now finding itself in a position where Pixel consumers were. I kind of extend that window a little bit longer because
Mhm.
of what went down with the Pixel 5. If you were
Okay.
on a Pixel 4, you probably didn't directly upgrade yearly to the Pixel 5 because the
Yeah.
Pixel 4 was a more powerful device. So then you take it to the Pixel 6, and if you were on the Pixel 4 and you didn't want to be first generation on a Tensor, you might have been stuck in more of a holding pattern there. And then that puts you out to 3 years. Your
Mhm.
Pixel 4 then has to stretch an extra year because of everything that went down with the Pixel 6. I
Yeah.
completely appreciate that. Now Pixel 7 to me looks like the more direct upgrade. If you were on an iPhone 11 and you didn't want to deal with the iPhone 12, the first year of 5G, the terrible
Yeah.
battery life. The fact that did the iPhone 12 throttled worse than the iPhone 11. So it was
Mhm.
actually a poorer performer with worse battery life. That wasn't an upgrade. So then you look at the 13, you think, oh, my iPhone 11's doing okay. Let me ride it out another year. Oh, the iPhone 14 is basically the same as the iPhone 13. So now I got to go in even another year. Like you've actually got to push your iPhone 11 out to a fourth year to
Mhm.
get the real upgrade from your iPhone 11. I feel like Pixel owners were kind of in that ballpark because of the Pixel 5. It kind of upset the chain of how we
Well,
usually do
it
upgrades.
was definitely a shift. It was a shift because it was that year where Google was experimenting, and they kind of recorrected, the course corrected with the Pixel 6, as we expected them with the Tensor
Well, I
2.
think it was because they wanted the Pixel 5 to be the Pixel 6, and they couldn't get it ready in time. If you look at the core
Maybe
configuration on
so,
the
and
Tensor,
maybe the sales were also, they were still recovering from the sales from the Pixel 4, because you remember, you have to kind of
so
remember the pricing for the phones at the time. The Pixel 4 XL was
well,
actually
not
close
just
to,
pricing though. I'm
yeah.
looking at this as the semiconductor nerd, and
Oh, okay.
again, this is I'm totally cribbing on Gary Explains and Tech Potato. These are not all my original thoughts. But if you look at the core configuration on Tensor, it really looks like it was built to battle the 888, not the 8 Gen 1.
8 Gen 1. Okay.
And
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
I really believe there is no evidence to support this. This is Juan gross speculation. In
Yeah,
the
yeah.
truest sense of the word, this is grotesque speculation.
Hmm.
I believe Tensor was originally built to be the Pixel 5, and it wasn't ready in time. And what we got was a Pixel 5
The
that just
765
sort
in
of
there.
borrowed parts from the A series
No,
line,
it was
and
the
they spruced them up a
4A
little
body.
bit
Yeah, it was a slightly modified version of the 4A.
for a body.
The 4A body
And that's
with
why
5G.
we have the Pixel 5 that we have.
Still have,
And
yeah.
then we got back on track. And so the Pixel 6 Tensor actually ended up competing decently well with the 8 Gen 1.
Hmm.
It's technically in that kind of off cycle, it's
Yeah.
technically fighting an SoC ahead. And I don't think it fell that far behind the
No,
8
no.
Gen 1, given all of the performance and thermal issues.
I think with overall the first few months growing pains, and then getting 12L out, and then trying to get through some of those updates, it became much more refined for the 6A when the 6A was launched, as far as the
For
software
sure.
experience. And
Completely agree.
I do not doubt the fact that, the Pixel 7 with the Tensor 2, and the refinements of Android 13, which is for the most part again a refinement over Android 12L, or all the improvements we've seen with 12. There should really be no issues with the launch, the performance, but everything that we need here. This is definitely a very big learning year, but it was also,
Yeah.
again, when they were able to strike the right recipe, when they realized that the 599, 899 price point were that magic sauce kind of thing, that where it starts,
Well, tell
people will
me
buy
that
for the sleeper
Google
cell.
hasn't completely redefined the entry premium tier. I don't even
Oh
know
my
what to call
god.
this because it's right on the border. I would normally call 4 to 600 the mid range,
Hmm.
and above 600 premium, and above 1,000 ultra.
Ultra. Yep.
And now, because of the influence of Google, I mean, again, they're barely eking out maybe 3% of North American sales. Like, I don't even
Hmm.
think they've truly hit 5% of the Android market in North America. But I guarantee you, we have phones like the OnePlus 10T
Hmm.
because of the Pixel 6 hitting that $650
Oh,
price
yeah, yeah, yeah,
point,
yeah, yeah,
the,
yeah,
the
yeah,
stack
exactly.
of
Yeah.
cameras that are on the OnePlus 10T, the form factor, the design. If we hadn't had a Pixel 6 with the sort of obvious follow up that a Pixel 7 would likely be in that same ballpark around $600, that to me is like the immediate reaction from companies like OnePlus. Now
Mhm.
you've got another Android competitor that's not a Samsung, that's
OnePlus did
competing at
actually,
a
yeah.
high tier with an
Mhm.
amazing camera sensor and a powerful SoC. It's not a mid-ranger SoC, $600. So now OnePlus has some
630
wiggle room because they can play with RAM and storage. They don't have as strong a camera sensor. A main camera sensor on the OnePlus 10T is what you get on a Pixel 6.
No,
But now
no.
they can fight at closer to a sub $700 price point for what do we call it? Entry premium? Is that premium mid range?
I
I
was
don't
going to
know.
say,
It's right on the border.
yeah, I would probably call it a premium mid-range, a premium mid-range device because it kind of falls in between, right? The presence of tensor at the 6A level bridges the gap now because now you're saying the SoC and the performance is no longer locked into premium or to budget sorry.
Yeah.
It's actually down to the budget side. It's a fair, at least on Pixel side. I like the fact that they learned that and they took that page over from Apple, at least making it more of a direct competitor. And I think it's not just a direct competitor; it's a much more performance leverage, like to the standard 13, not even to the SE, because the SE to me was at the time when we saw Apple using like the latest generation of their A series of SoCs on the SE, the SE 2020. To me,
Mm-hmm.
that was a big move. That was a big saying, look, we have the chips, we make the chips. Why not give you the best experience on the processor side? Smaller form
Right.
factor, yes, a few tailored experiences, but you understand why the price is like this. Google's doing that with the 6A. Obviously, we'll see that hopefully next year with the follow up on the 7A. But
Yeah.
it is pushing OnePlus a little bit more, but I feel like OnePlus was able to jump to the challenge. The 899 for the OnePlus 10
Yeah.
Pro early in the year, direct, you could see
Pretty
where
solid.
that came from.
Yeah.
Moto jumped in with it as well with the Edge 2022, 899 for their
The
512
Edge
offering.
Plus 2022
Oh, Edge
is
Plus, sorry, yeah.
easily one of the most underrated phones of the
Absolutely,
year.
absolutely. A
It's so
very,
good.
very refreshing. Missed
But
that
I mean,
phone.
a Pixel 7 launching at 599 puts it right in the crosshairs of an iPhone 13 mini.
Which still exists actually because the 14
No, I'm
doesn't have
serious.
a
Like you're
yeah, yeah.
buying a new phone, 5G enabled phone. That's the kind of price comparison we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a tremendous fight, especially if we can eke out just some of those power consumption advantages of a die shrink.
Mhm.
Because I don't think people really fully understand like what the back and forth has been between the Dimensity 9000 and the 8 Plus Gen 1 and the Tensor 1.
Mhm.
We have been talking about thermal issues and phones that run hot and then they can throttle or they can overheat.
Yeah, depending on how they
But
manage, yeah.
what we saw with 8 Plus Gen 1 is shockingly good performance per watt for a plus cycle. Still performs like an 8 Gen 1, now it performs like an 8 Gen 1 that you can undervolt.
Mhm.
That is huge. And so now I think we're within. Someone just recently, I can't remember what YouTube channel it was. I shared it with Barry. I don't know if Barry is still watching. Someone did yet another Genshin Impact test with the Xiaomi 12S Ultra.
Mhm.
And you've got frame rates that are one frame off from an iPhone 14 Pro. And the iPhone 14 Pro is consuming more power than the Xiaomi 12S Ultra. So it's
Wow.
like you got 1 frame per second more at 10% more
10 more
power
power
draw.
draw. Yeah, yeah.
That's where we're at. I mean, again, you can sit there and show me all the Geekbench scores that you want, but when you really put a game out, when you really put an app out, when you really look at a real world performance scenario, that gap has narrowed tremendously in terms of real world performance, not just spec measuring on synthetic benchmarks. So if I've got a Tensor 2 and you can give me a 10% power reduction for the same performance as a
Mhm.
Tensor 1, and you've got me that Samsung GN1, that
Mhm.
camera sensor that is directly competing with the iPhone 14 Pro at the same price as an iPhone 13 mini, that is a huge Golden Reviewer. Thank you, Barry. I knew you would have the answer on that. Golden Reviewer did another one of his performance roundups. The champ was the Dimensity 8000 for like the longest time. 8100, sorry.
8100, yeah, yeah.
The Dimensity 8100 for the longest time. The 8 Plus Gen 1, when you properly cool it, that Xiaomi is now like within 5 to 8% performance per watt margins against an iPhone 14 Pro.
Absolutely.
So Apple, they can still win on this like unlabeled bar graph synthetic benchmark scoring.
I love their charts. Yeah.
The A series processors perform incredibly well
Mhm.
in this type of synthetic compute load task. But real world, we're not seeing dominance. We're seeing a really nuanced discussion of, do you want it to outperform an 8 Plus Gen 1? Great, it can. Is it outperforming the 8 Plus Gen 1 using less power? No, not really. Is it producing more heat? Yeah, it actually does run warmer now than an 8 Plus Gen 1. That is a very complicated and nuanced style of performance comparison. But if I can get close to that on a Tensor 2 with the custom hardware that Google's running for photos, for video, for image processing, and AI capabilities, then I'm going to be real stoked on an iPhone 7 at $600. I mean, an iPhone, I had a Pixel 7
7. Yeah, I know. I get
at
it.
$600.
It's late. It's Thursday. I get it. No, I'm with you. The iPhone 7. That's it. The iPhone 7 at
Right?
$599. It's coming out
I'd
next
be
week.
real stoked on just returning to an iPhone 7. But, you know, I still have my original iPhone SE because it still has a headphone jack. So, you know,
No, I know it. So the excitement part about that is the fact that this year Google is at least taking their leakers head on. We've seen them for years. You know, their devices being leaked 6 months, 5 to 6 months earlier than the hardware being available. You know, a box is falling off a truck somewhere in Europe. But the good thing
always.
is,
And like a month beforehand. Like,
I,
what the heck?
I'm full deep dive on the performance, and this time, of course, it's no difference. There are some videos already out there, but some mock-ups, some early hardware, beta hardware that's already been out. People putting videos, but Google basically put out I think was it yesterday, a teaser, not a teaser, but like basically showing what the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro are going to look like. Obviously the Pixel Watch, we already knew what's going to look like back from I/O. And then just the different experiences that you're going to be basically looking at. So we have the Pixel Buds Pro, the new hardware this year. We have the Apple, not the Apple Watch, the Pixel Watch. So you got to go in Apple Pixel here. The new Pixel Watch, obviously, as well. And so that one, from what at least the rumors are saying, it is that it's going to be launching a little bit later after the phones are going to be out. So the phones will come out first around that October 6th, if I'm not mistaken. I think the event, the 6th or the 7th. I want to say it's the 6th, right? I think it's October. Yeah, the 6th. And that'll be the launch event. Hopefully, we'll find out if it's an actual in-person or virtual. But either way, it sounds like we're set for some exciting stuff coming up, at least from Google. Team Pixel, from what I've seen in the leaks, apparently some members from Team Pixel, I don't know what regions, got a chance to check out the hardware, and they did a reaction video from them. So we're almost there. Let's say this: the hardware is done, it's cooked, it's baked, it's ready to go. They just need to get it into our hands, and hopefully let us participate in the conversation. And we'll see how the staged release and reviewers and who gets what and where. And
there's really not much. I'm gonna be. There's really not much I'm expecting. Obviously, I want to see some refinement to the design. I don't like the glass seam on the camera visor on the Pixel 6 Pro. I really the only weak spots I feel that are left on the Pixel, with all the refinement that we've seen to the software and how much smoother Tensor is running than when it ran at launch. We need a different fingerprint sensor on that phone. Google fingerprint sensors, in-display fingerprint sensors have been some of the poorest performers of their respective phone generations, and I would like to see a better ultra-wide camera sensor. The Pixel 6 Pro is one of the best main camera sensors on the market today. It's one of the best telephoto on the market today, and it's just sort of as an ultra-wide, and I would love to see that at least step up to a proper half-inch performer with better autofocus.
That could be what they do. Yeah, maybe that is the upgrade that they could.
I hope
they can push, because from an aesthetical point, it doesn't really look that different, other than the new cutouts that we have now on the cover and the back for the camera lenses.
But I like there being more of a camera guard around the sensors as opposed to the just total glass strip.
I didn't have any issues with my unit, because I'd always got cases that
it's not that I had any issues. It's so like on my Pixel 6. I would be concerned in more sort of like lifestyle durability. It's the fact that there's a noticeable
Hmm.
fingernail can find the gap
Hmm.
from the curved glass into the flat glass of the camera assembly and then back to the curved. Like there's a definite
There's a definite
separate
space.
piece of glass.
Yeah.
And if you would put like seams here on the corners, I actually think that would, in a way, kind of look and perform better. But the
Yeah.
fact that they're trying to make it look like an unbroken glass sheet when it's really three different pieces of clear material, I don't like that. And I do sort of worry about a longer term durability there. Making this more of a protected visor with cutouts for the camera sensors, I think, is immediately an upgrade. I think
Yeah.
that's immediately going to be a better presentation and better for potential damage. Because like we're seeing, putting a glass module with glass lenses on the iPhone and
Hmm.
having it stick out more, we're already starting to see people complain about damaging their camera lenses. And this is the same problem that Samsung figured out back with like the S20 Ultra and the Note 20 Ultra was, hey, a big old sticky outy camera sensor with a ton of glass on it seems to get damaged really easily when you're banging these phones around. And now iPhone consumers get to learn that lesson the hard way too. It's
Yeah.
like we never just look at other companies and say like, hey, maybe don't do that.
Maybe it's a better idea to maybe protect the elements in the back.
Sure.
I would say the 60 to 70% reason why this phone is being picked up is because of the camera stack that you have on it, more so than the fact that it's an actual pocket communicator. We really don't like
Yeah.
no phone on the market today cannot
Like,
make calls, receive
like
calls. Let's say that.
I love this camera. This makes me so nervous. I baby my Xiaomi so much. I handle this phone completely different than I handle any of my other phones, and yet I don't have the same kinds of concerns on my Vivo
X80. Yeah.
because this, I mean, the larger full width, I believe this is glass. So
Hmm.
yeah, okay, maybe that gets cracked. I don't care. The actual module that's surrounding the camera sensors is ceramic.
Hmm.
So they even changed up from the X70, they changed up this camera configuration. And what's actually bordering your lenses should
Yeah.
be more durable, not less durable.
Yeah, because the X70 kind of had that same design that we saw on the S21 and S20.
Yeah, more
The
of the domino
design,
effect. Yeah.
yeah, the Domino is a little bit of basically a big block, and I think this is why I like this case because it raises all there's a raised edge around every single piece of the element, the glass elements, and you don't have a chance even if you put it on the table. It's unless there's a big piece of rock sitting there, you're not really likely to hit it.
Right.
And then of course with Greg's recommendation, I was able to find a good not a glass, a good protector, a screen protector, um,
Yeah.
that where I was able to pick up, that I was actually able to purchase in the US because
Yeah, the
it's
case that
hard.
you have on that thing now is so much better than just the
No,
supply
and I still had the
clip
case that you
case.
had with Lexus stickers in there. I would not get rid of that, but it was more
Oh, that's awesome.
I needed a little bit more protection. So next time, maybe if I see Lex, I'll ask her to maybe
So
christen
so Lex saw
the
how
new edition.
dirty my because I'll tell you one of the worst aspects of using the Pixel 6 Pro has actually been the absolutely god awful
Pixel
bumper
6, the
case.
original
And
bumper
I'm
case.
I'm
Yeah,
holding to it. Like Google said this would be a good case to pair with this phone, and I want to show people how incorrect that assessment was. This case is bad, and Google should feel bad for how expensive this case was. But it's basically kind of like now an off-color, like tea-stained brown.
it
And
actually
so she
matches the
was
stickers
looking
more of an orange color.
she was looking at the sort of cream color of my Pixel 6 Pro, and so she stuck a pink and yellow flower sticker
Oh,
on
that's a
the back
flower.
to
Okay,
try and
sorry.
make
I
it
thought it was
look.
an orange slice. From my angle, it looked like a. Let's if we can. Oh, okay. Yep. Nope.
Yeah,
Peace.
so it's pink and yellow and orange, and so now the sticker actually matches the phone pretty well, but the case is just
Something
not
else. It's gone off
looking
on it.
good.
It's taken a trip somewhere down another path.
Oof,
No,
it's
I
so
think first
gross.
party cases, even with the Pixel 5, the fabric case that they gave us, they tend to pick up a lot of like
Life.
oils, and it's yeah, life essentially. Exactly. It's like a leather case, right? The leather case you
So
expect
you know what
to
I liked about the
change.
fabric case is
Hmm.
I could always determine whether or not I was going to take someone's pixel criticism seriously
Hmm.
if their fabric case was pristine.
Because they never used it. I know.
Because that was clear. You have
Yeah.
not used that phone.
Yeah.
If
No, I
if
know.
your fabric case is spotless, and you can kind of do the same thing. Miriam,
Hmm.
Tank Girl, she's
Oh man,
rocking
she's still
her
rocking the
main
six.
daily driver is a Pixel 6 Pro. Her case looks worse than mine. So when Miriam's like complaining, you're like, oh, I didn't like how the phone did this, but I really like how the phone did that, and the cameras were awesome for this, but the screen was kind of problematic for that. You know who I believe? I believe that she actually used the phone because her case looks awful.
So for me, I actually went with a slightly different thing. I went skin
Oh,
on
you
the
went
Pixel
skin.
6 Pro,
Fair.
and
Totally fair.
then I got the discoloration on my case because you get the different colors on the side, the different edging. It protects it
That's
a little bit from the phone, but you
but
still
that's
get
hilarious that you're holding up that Google bumper and it used to be clear.
it
This used
it
to be a clear bumper.
it is an,
It's so awful.
they need better cases. I'll say that it is always been a
They need
challenge.
OnePlus cases. I still don't know. I think OnePlus has still consistently been my favorite first party case manufacturer,
Whenever
like
they come
making
up
their
with a
own
phone, I
cases for
always make sure.
phones.
Yeah, if I didn't get it with in the package with the reviewers package, I always pick it up. Like on my OnePlus 9 Pro, I still have that robot case that was like limited edition to like a very
So
short run. Yeah, look at that.
I don't know if I'll be able to get it to
I
focus
think you need
because
to
my
do
face is in the
the
way.
makeup. You need to do the makeup
Well, no,
part.
I need both hands because what I'm showing is the actual plastic shell that snaps to the phone is
Hmm.
peeling and separating
Oh, from the external
from
piece. Oh, okay.
from the rubbery outer piece. Oh, there it is. You can kind of see
Hmm.
the air gap is growing daily, just from normal use, not from me like pulling it away like this. But this is this is the dumbest case. Like it is so bad, and for how much money Google charged for this thing, I, that alone, that is the single most frustrating aspect of rocking the Pixel 6 Pro as one of my sort of main fallback in between review
Let's
daily
hope the
driver
Pixel 7
phones.
series gets an upgraded, I would say, an upgraded case or accessories or first party accessories with that one. Hopefully,
When
I think
when when the Pixel 7 Pro comes out, because I've always been very appreciative of being on Team Pixel, and
absolutely.
they're regularly able to supply us with devices. Even if they don't, I'll be buying a Pixel 7 Pro. Once that finally happens, I will retire my Pixel 6 Pro case and just get something nicer to put on this phone. It's just so gross, and I need like this is less than a year.
Man, yes, you're right. You're right. It's not even a year yet. If you think about it, yeah, we're at
A
the cusp
bumper
of that.
case should not be this gross in less than a year. So anyway,
No,
I'm
it,
just
no, no. I'm totally with you. I'm with you. There's a lot of things coming up. I mean, we're at the what they don't call it Techtober for no reason. There's obviously way more things coming up in
yep.
October. Google's going to kick us off in that gear. There's obviously, hopefully, some more conversations going on. There is a potential thing, maybe a Team Pixel thing going on. We saw some information from some of
Yeah,
the
could be
Pixel
cool.
PR, and if that happens, we'll have to see. Maybe you'll see some of us there. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was that little bit of an eluding of a trip that possibly could happen in October. We were talking earlier. Juan and I were talking, so we'll see how that goes. Um, but honestly, with that being said, this weekend's probably going to be me spending a lot of hours hands down into a Steam Deck. Also trying to run different experiments, see
Yeah.
what's available. I also want to kind of start shopping some accessories as well. I've seen some docks in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then one thing I would probably need to figure out is how to pry the NREALs from your hand, but then you're working on them right now, so that's not going to happen. So we'll have to have
Oh,
that
these are going to be so
conversation.
much fun.
um,
Love it.
but yeah, no. So because it's a limited market. If you think about it, in the US, we don't have a lot of options for external displays. The NXWare, the original ones from TCL, never sold in the US. and they were
Nope.
around $600-700. It wasn't necessarily very affordable at the time, but I'm hoping that the Air that we saw at CES, it's been some time, so I'm hoping that
That
was
they
going to come up for.
eventually make it
I
into
I've been seeing
production.
some posts on social media about them. Hopefully they are coming. We'll have to see. There is I think there's like a group talking about them on Facebook and so on. So we'll have to see how that kind of goes. But I'm excited to see what they offer us. And we did not get a chance to see that type of tech at the TCL mini summit that I'd like to call that we had there. So
I mean, they were
um,
more focused on like these were the real products that are in the
a-
pipeline coming to
absolutely,
consumers in North
actual
America,
hardware, exactly.
and
Yeah.
especially like for owning our TV, our main TV downstairs is the older generation TCL 6 series, and I've really enjoyed, like, that TV has been a really solid performer. So to see the upgrades that are coming to the new 6 series, and that, like, again, the pricing doesn't seem to have changed. They were saying $699 for the 55-inch. Was that
I think the
that what
price
it
point,
was?
the biggest thing that they're, because the upgrades that we saw here, it's not a massive jump, but it's for somebody that has, let's say, the 2021, like the ones
No,
we
but
have,
it's
it
it's
probably is
brighter
not
with better
focused on that.
dimming. I mean, so
Oh,
you kept the
absolutely.
same price, but
Yeah,
you improved the HDR, the contrast, and the just total output brightness of the
absolutely.
TV.
And
That to me is like,
lightweightness. The TVs are
yeah.
still actually not they're not
Well,
heavy,
no, this
and
they're
they
they're
changed the
they're
footings on them as well,
they changed the
adjustable
footing, so
footings.
now
Yeah, yeah,
the base is sturdier, but like
and centered.
TCL TVs are pretty chunky. Like a comparably priced Samsung, I can lift over my head, not a
Oh yeah,
problem.
but
And the 6 series, I was trying to get on the wall mount, and I was like, oh no, I'm
yeah,
gradually tilting backwards. I'm
it's
about to
like
drop this TV over my head.
honey, can I
I
borrow your.
did come in and just like, and literally, it was just like the one finger at the top of the TV just to get the balance and
Just to
to
get the
weight it
balance?
back
Yeah.
forward again. It was a
I
bad Three Stooges sketch with only two
yeah.
Stooges. It was
I'm
hilarious.
laughing. I'm laughing with you because I actually asked my wife to do the exact same thing. I realized this was a much more in well
I
because
love
I
it.
went with a 65, so mine was like an extra
Yeah,
probably 10, 15, whatever pounds more. Um,
yeah, they're
they're
they're they're
heavier,
they're a bit
but I
chunky.
will say so far
It's a bit.
with the updates, it's been worth it for me. I mean, it's a 4K 120 panel, Google TV built in.
No, it's
I
it's
don't.
been awesome. So
Yeah,
these first ones coming out are going to be Roku's. I'll be really curious to see,
yeah,
like,
but they're focused on being platform agnostic. So yeah, even
for
though
sure.
Roku's first, more than likely we'll see the Google TVs come out not that long after. So yeah, for sure, and I think that's the exciting part. But with that being said, and I think we're at that point, we're at that magic point right now, getting a little bit at the time. Um, I think next week for me, actually, maybe let's start off with you. What's your plans for this week? Any videos coming out the rest of this week? I know it's Thursday.
Yes, I have no idea what I'm going to get done next. I'm just wrapping up the Amazfit GTS 4,
I need to
which has been
finish
a.
my my Samsung Watch to jump on the GTR 4. I
I
have it,
mean,
but I haven't been able to use it. Yeah.
this Amazfit experience, like, again, I like to talk about companies like it's a journey, and from the
Hmm.
very first Amazfit watch to now, it's been so satisfying seeing products I really liked
Hmm.
continue to get better. So the GTS 4, spoiler for my review, is it's a little expensive, but I really like it, and each generation of Amazfit seems to get smarter than the generation before it. Then I've also got to wrap up my video. I'm almost done writing the script for the Unihertz. So
Yes.
this is for the Titan Slim, a very inexpensive communicator phone. Still doesn't quite scratch that BlackBerry itch, but I need some solution to point to that we can still talk about things like hardware keyboards on mobile
Hmm.
devices. I just put out, it's not a review because I already reviewed the computer, but I did want to do sort of an editorial on the Geekom Mini Air 11 Special Edition.
Hmm.
So this video went out this afternoon. It's just
Yeah,
a
the
big
box.
old enthusiast box
Hmm.
with a better presentation, better packaging, a couple little fun accessories, a nice premium mouse pad, and it's not significantly more expensive than the PC itself. And so I put out an editorial saying, like, we get reviewers kits, and they often have
Hmm.
really fancy packaging and extra accessories and cases and earbuds and stuff like that. I really feel more companies need to do this. Like this feels a lot like one of those reviewer kits that we would get from OnePlus or from Google or from LG back in the day. It's always bothered me that consumers can't buy that kit. So far on my video, one person has said no. There's one cranky pants guy named Martin. I am not a fan of any brand, and I think such special boxes are stupid. If you want a custom experience, put a D brand on your device. We should not idolize any brand because they will only make it more powerful. What a box must have is the essentials, a charger and a cable, not even headphones or cases because not everybody uses them. So he's kind of against the idea, I guess, of having a nicer sort of fan edition or reviewer kit edition. But if you disagree with Martin, you could jump in the comments on this video if you would like
I
to
guess
have a nicer version of the phone or tablet or computer that you buy.
I think what you're advocating for is more of an experience, kind of like at the end of the day, is like, do you like presents being wrapped, or do you like them to just be handed over? If you like to have the
Well,
experience of unboxing and getting that
yes,
that exciting, and I think that's what it is. I wasn't necessarily talking about the actual paper wrapping. It's more about
sure.
the unboxing experience. We've gotten to
Well,
the point now that
I get twitchy about reviewer kits because we get a
very different. Yeah, it's not made
total
for
experience.
Not made for sales. Not exactly.
So like with the OnePlus 10 Pro, I got a phone, 2 cases, and a wireless charger in a really nice open the box, experience the product. There's the book, the Moon pamphlet book in the box. It unfolded to be like a photo from one of the Hasselblad cameras of the moon landing.
Moon landing.
I mean, that was better. That was a better way to experience that phone. But I didn't really show that off in any of my videos because I think it's kind of unfair, or I think it's a little gross, or it colors the perception of the reviewer and the manufacturer relationship when a consumer who would really like OnePlus devices can never experience what I got to play with as a reviewer. So again, I'm picking on Martin here because he seems to be saying like I'm saying you should get crappy earbuds in a complicated box, and that's what fan editions should be. But what Geekom did, this tiny little PC company, are selling a $250 mini PC for $270 so that you can get a nicer box, better accessories. They make a little vinyl figurine of their mascot, a nice mouse pad, and it's really pretty. And like that is nicer than just getting a banged up cardboard box with a tiny PC in it. So anyway, if you agree with Martin, let him know in the comments on my video. The Geekom Mini Air 11 Special Edition, why won't more companies do this? Because I'm sure he's probably got the only viable opinion on this style of tech strategy. Good job, Martin.
Definitely. And on my side, at least, what's coming up in the next couple of days, I need to get the Watch 5 Pro and versus the TicWatch video. I'm doing a comparison between those two. Definitely, leaders in their own perspective into what they're offering, but obviously there is some benefits to one ecosystem over the other, and hopefully we'll see how that goes. And then just trying to kind of wrap up my my Huawei Mate XS2 video with the Huawei glasses that they just released as well. So there's a couple of pieces of tech that I got a chance to pick up from.
You're playing with some glasses too. You're
but they're speaker glasses. I wish I had wished that they were trying to venture into the NREAL form factor. Again, we are really slim in the US market on these type of technologies. I know Sony was doing them. There was a whole bunch of other companies that did, but again, mostly
Sony was the company that lit me up originally. The original Sony Cinema headset.
No,
blew my mind.
I remember them from the Android barbecue days. Let's just say that long time ago. This isn't like
man. That's taking it back.
It is
the great Android
barbecues back in the old days. So there used to be a Sony rep that was also a developer that used to come in with Sony devices and so on. And so, long story short, we've seen a massive improvement in this technology. We've seen them improved quite a bit. Some of them powered by Qualcomm technologies, because that's how I got a chance to see the NREALs a couple of years ago at the Tech Summit before the pandemic. So long story short, that's what I'm going to be focusing on, trying to kind of finish up some stuff, jumping a little bit into Huawei, kind of prepping myself a little bit also before we get into Pixel Land, and when Pixel comes out, because I'd love to be able to have some time set aside for Pixels, especially with the Pixel 7, depending if we're able to get the 7 or 7 Pro first, we'll see what comes out. And I want to get a little bit more storage on that one as well. If I'm picking up, I'm going to pick up the higher storage, because we need the storage on those. But yeah, so it may be a little bit slow kind of ramping up, but I'm going to be more focusing on specifics. The U Perfect came out today, and then maybe also starting to focus more on shorts now that we're able to monetize them. Now that we're more that it's no longer a pool. It's more of like you just do your thing.
I'm considering the opposite direction of like less videos, and I'll write more articles on some gadgetguy.com. So we'll see.
Well, I mean, so yeah, for me, because it depending, I think, because for me, I don't have a.
No, if you would like to write more articles for somegadgetguy.com, I would appreciate the extra monetization too. But something tells me that's probably not the right strategy for your side.
It's not the strategy; it's the time of day, my friend. I only have so many. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, because I'm not going to pay you, but if you want.
Then I see how
this got weird. Hey everybody, so thanks to everyone for tuning in. The chat was incredible, and we really appreciate the chatter and the conversation, the questions, and especially like I know we're kind of being a little cheeky with our nerddom here, being so into things like Steam Decks and different gadgets and phones and accessories and stuff. But while we get into Techtober, this is actually the kind of stuff that I think is a more exciting part of the conversation. So we've always appreciated those of you who are tuning in, dropping those questions, kind of helping that conversation foster, and then also sharing for all the amazing people that are streaming right now. We've had Barry in the chat and Scoop. Michael Peppertech is putting together some brilliant interviews with content creators and his own videos on tech and gadgets. Tomorrow we've got Tech Valor and LaShawn are going to be streaming. Saturday, you're going to be streaming for Saturday morning.
Yeah, and that's going to be a little bit early this week because we have a swim meet for my son. But yeah, it'll be up on Saturday morning.
And so Sundays, we've got people streaming. I'm on Monday. Tuesday's Gadget Goddess. Wednesday is Eric, Easy Computer Solutions. Before our show, I mean, I saw Zach was streaming. We had Ike. We had Easy also had, like, I think one of his podcast streams. Basically, there's an entire community of people that I think are doing some really wonderful stuff. So make sure you're spreading the love. All of the sharing, thumbs ups, subscribing, all of that stuff is greatly appreciated. And again, just kind of trying to find more fun tech nerds to bring to this conversation so that we can keep that conversation a little higher level than average basic knuckle dragging, because that's not fun. I want to talk about the bleeding edge stuff. So that's why I like the people in our chat, because they have much better taste.
No, absolutely. And we're really happy to see Aditya and Golan Levy joining us a little bit later in the show, and Vince and Ash and Michael Peppertech, Barry Johnson, everybody taking their time and spending time with us here on this beautiful Thursday evening. Absolutely.
All right.
So with that being said, be safe, stay safe, and we'll see you guys next week for another episode of the best of our week.